engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The San Diego Padres get the second no-hitter in franchise history.
Here's the 1-0. Abrams swings, lines it into right field. Johnson coming on. He's got it, and the ball game is over. Dylan C says no hit. The Washington Nationals. On a rainy Thursday in D.C., the Padres will celebrate.
The call on 97.3 The Fan. Cease throws a season-high 114 pitches. The Padres win the game 3-0. The team's been around since 1969, but the only other no-hitter came from Joe Musgrove back in 2021. Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins won't play in the team's 3 preseason games, but he's now medically cleared to practice. Cousins tore his right Achilles last October with the Vikings. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Broncos wideout Courtland Sutton now has a restructured deal that adds $1.5 million with incentives. Jets defensive end Hassan Reddick now on the did not report list. Reddick was picked up in a trade with the Eagles in March.
Here's one stat that's super simple to remember. Discover automatically doubles the cash back on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cash Back Match. With Discover, you could turn $150 cash back to $300. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Mosciona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Ross Jackson will be here in hour 3 for a full Saints camp report. Both Big Ten and ACC media days going on. Our buddy Brad Senkiw will be here to talk some ACC. Bryan Fenley covers UCLA. They had their debut at Big Ten media days. We'll get to all that. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Day 2 of Saints camp, maybe the biggest storyline day 1 was not only Kendre Miller's hamstring injury, but Dennis Allen's comments about Kendre Miller's hamstring injury, where he said if you want to make the team, it's hard to make the team if you're always in the training room. Caught a lot of people's attention because I don't think anybody was thinking that a second-round player who's a third-round pick would be in any jeopardy of making the team. But Dennis Allen clearly was a little fed up there. And then, look, it's football, it's a physical game, but the injuries continue to pile a little bit here. Catherine Terrell and others who were out there in Irvine noting that defensive end Trajan Jeffcoat was on the ground for a while as athletic trainers wrapped up his elbow. Eventually was carted off the field. So Trajan Jeffcoat's a name that should sound familiar. He started his college career at Missouri, transferred to Arkansas, where he finished. So LSU fans got to see Jeffcoat both at Missouri and at Arkansas. And Jeffcoat was with us, on After Further Review after the draft, and he signed with New Orleans as an undrafted free agent. Very engaging guy. I really enjoyed that conversation. He's someone easy to pull for. You might remember his story. he actually left. He just sat out of football. He was sort of reevaluating himself and his priorities in his life and just left the team and missed a year of football before coming back and refining that vigor. This was what he talked about here on AFR a few months ago.
It's so many areas that it helped me, just taking a year off. But definitely throughout that time, it was just a lot of hard work, a lot of praying, just reflecting on my family, because I had a lot of things going on at the time. So just being away from football made me cherish football even more, I would say. So it definitely made me hungry. God definitely led me. I definitely dwelled in his place, just in prayer. And I feel like that really, really helped me. So
easy guy to cheer for, man, and it's a tough break. So we'll hope for the best for Trajan Jeffcoat to see what may happen there. To be very honest, though, I think it was going to be hard for him to win a roster spot either way. When you look at defensive end, I mean, Cam Jordan's obviously there. The Saints invested in Carl Granderson a year ago, and he rewarded that trust. Chase Young was the big free agent acquisition at defensive end, and obviously has been out there at practice now for 2 days. You've still got guys like Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, who you invested a ton of draft capital, a first-round pick in Turner, a high second-round pick in Foskey. Those are young guys you're hoping to get the most out of. And then Tano Passanio at some point is going to return from that Achilles injury and be good to go. So you're really, really deep there. It might actually turn out that a best-case scenario for a guy like Jeffcoat is if, again, the best case is that he's healthy, he goes out there, is awesome, and makes the roster. In year 2 would have a better chance of making your roster than he would right now, considering your numbers. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself here because we don't even know the severity of this injury at this point. But Trajan Jeffcoat, the defensive end out of Arkansas, was carted off the field today at Saints practice. Our buddy Ross Jackson was out at Saints practice today, as he will be in Irvine throughout the entirety of Saints camp. So Ross will be with us in hour 3, just 5 o'clock. If you're listening to us live, 5 o'clock Central, top of hour 3, throughout the Saints time in Irvine through August the 16th. That's when Ross will be here to give us our daily Saints camp report. So we're really, really looking forward to that. Dennis Allen did meet with reporters after practice, and one of the things that he was asked about a bit is one of the top camp storylines that we talked about. I mean, I think everybody's top camp storyline, of course, is the offensive line and the 3 spots that are open, and we're going to talk plenty about that. But one of the other ones that I mentioned was the backup quarterback job, and that's something that for a long time was never really a question in camp. I mean, Jameis Winston was brought in to back up Drew Brees. Even when Andy Dalton was here, he was brought in to back up Jameis Winston. You can go back further when you had McCown, or when you had Chase Daniel here, Mark Brunell. Like, it was never a question. You knew who the Saints' backup was. This year, it feels very much up in the air with 2 draft picks in Haener and Rattler. And Dennis Allen was kind of asked about the plan for those 2 guys. Like, are they going to rotate there with the 2s throughout camp, or what the plan was?
Well, look, I think both those 2 are competing. And so, yeah, I would venture to say throughout the course of training camp, you'll see both of them run with the 3rd group. You'll see both of them run with the 2nd group. And I think it's not like we have a schedule mapped out, exactly what we're going to do. But I would expect that throughout the course of training camp, they'll both get reps with the 2s and both get reps of the 3s.
I'll be more interested in the preseason games than I will practice reps, because ultimately what's going to happen is when they get into those preseason games, you're going to see Derek Carr maybe start and take a series, and then the next quarterback will go take reps with the 1s, maybe for the rest of the first half, or however that plays out. Then the other gets the second half, however they may do it, and then they'll switch. So they're both going to get their opportunities in the preseason, and that's really what I'm looking forward to, is which of the 2 in game scenarios in the preseason actually start to emerge. So we're a little ways away from that, but just something worth keeping an eye on. And for what it's worth, Chris Olave met with reporters as well after the second day of practice. And again, this is the Saints' number 1 receiver, 1,100 yards a year ago, first-round pick. You all know the drill. And he was asked his first impressions of the rookie Spencer Rattler.
It's off the charts. He's a real natural. Good. I want to see him in action, but for now.
That position battle goes there with Rattler and Jake Haener for the backup job. All right, it's after further review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, the official beer of us here on AFR, and of course the official beer of the LSU Tigers. So as we're getting toward the preseason, as summer is winding down, make sure you got that fridge, that ice chest stocked with plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Official beer of summer and official beer soon to be of football season. So whether you're watching games on the TV or you're in the stadium, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on the show. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us. Lots of ways you can get involved. 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. It's really cool if you're paying attention, like if you're on Twitter or X. One of the really cool things is that your feed, if it's like mine, is just flooded all day now with football. It's not speculation. It's not lists. It's not the random summertime lists or projections or prognostications. It's football. Like I literally just refreshed Twitter, and there's a video of Joe Burrow throwing a sideline route to one of his receivers right there in the corner of the end zone, which is just awesome to see. Joe Burrow spinning it, looking really good. And here's hoping Joey B can stay healthy this year and have an awesome season there in Cincinnati. All right, y'all, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. One of the things that broke yesterday while we were on air that we really didn't have any time to delve into, that I want to sink my teeth into next, is a report from Ross Dellinger that scholarship limits across college athletics are going up. And I think this is going to be massively consequential. I'll explain why when we come back. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Of course, you can always call 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Again, or go to getgordon.com. They are Louisiana's personal injury lawyer. So if it's car accidents, if it's big truck wrecks, if it's personal injury, offshore maritime injuries, if it's workers' comp, our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys handle all of that, and all over the state of Louisiana as well. So it doesn't matter where you are in the state. 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Or you can go to getgordon.com. You want to see all the different types of cases they handle. It's all there for you. Go to getgordon.com. You can also see great testimonials from past clients. Again, there's more than 10,000 Louisianians that have been helped by Gordon, recovering more than $2 billion in damages. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Big Ten and ACC Media Days rolling along this week, actually wrapping up. So actually excited to talk here in about 45 minutes from right now with Bryan Fenley, who covers UCLA. We've talked so much about USC because LSU opens up with the Trojans. We haven't really spent a lot of time talking about the Bruins. So we'll take a closer look at UCLA here in about 45 minutes. And then our buddy Brad Senkiw will be here in hour number 3. Covers Clemson, but knows a ton about the ACC. So we'll talk about the ACC and expanded ACC with, man, I mean, you talk about Cal, Stanford, SMU moving into the ACC while Clemson and Florida State are desperately trying to get out of that league. Really, really interesting time. So much more about that as we move throughout the show. This was a report from Ross Dellinger a day ago, and we just didn't have a lot of time to dig deep into it. It was the start of Saints camp, and there was just a lot going on. Ross Dellinger is reporting that the NCAA is going to increase scholarships for sports, with football bumping its roster limit up to 105 players. So from 85 to 105, so adding 20 more scholarships to the football roster. That is significant news. I think that is fundamentally going to change how you build a roster. I mean, consider right now you've got a hard cap of 85 scholarship players, and you have walk-ons as well, but now you're talking about increasing that scholarship number from 85 to 105. That means, obviously, there's no cap any longer on signing classes. You could sign as many players as you want in a high school class. Remember, there was the hard cap at 25, where you couldn't go over 25 in a year. Well, now you can add even more. It will be so interesting to see what the net effect of this will be. My theory here is when the transfer portal was introduced, it was pretty much roundly understood that the big losers, air quotes, in the transfer portals were the high school athlete that was maybe like the 2 or 3 star that in years past would be like the last guy in a signing class. And they'd go and they'd sit and wait their turn and try to get better and then have a chance to play near the end of their career. The example I always give is Lloyd Cushenberry. It's just, he is the quintessential example of what I'm talking about. Lloyd Cushenberry was a guy at Dutchtown, just southeast of Baton Rouge, and was a really good high school football player. It was a low 3-star, and LSU was recruiting him, but they had to tell him, like, up to signing day, hey, not sure if we're going to have a spot for you. It depends how everything shakes out with signing day announcements. Just hold tight and we'll see. Because, of course, there was a hard cap of 25. So, as it comes to pass, they have a spot. Cushenberry signs. He sits for 3 years. And then, boom, is a starter for his last 2 years, wins a national championship, becomes a 4th-round pick, starts as a rookie with the Broncos, and now in his second contract signed the richest deal for a center in the NFL. Like, that is the quintessential example of what was available before the transfer portal. Because what has happened now at the portal is that guy, that kid, that Cushenberry, that sort of marginal 2-3 star that would have been the last guy in the class, there isn't room for that guy anymore. Because what teams have done is they've said, why would we take the 3-star, the 2-3 star, and let him sit in our program for 3 years trying to develop to become a better player when we can go take a guy with 3 years of college experience and get 1 year out of him now. Well, that kid would end up going to a smaller school and developing, getting better, and then ultimately leaving that smaller school and going to the bigger school at the end of his career. Think Braden Fisk, defensive lineman who coming out of high school wasn't highly recruited. He goes to Central Michigan. He's a star there for 4 years. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. He leaves Central Michigan, goes to Florida State, becomes an All-American and a second-round draft pick, right? 7 years ago, Braden Fisk might have been the last guy in Florida State's class or something like that, right? If all things were equal, I mean. So now increasing scholarship limits to 105 gives coaches opportunities now to say, you know what, I'm going to take a flyer on that guy. On that 3-star from the school down the road that probably isn't ready to play, but I can still go get my guys out of the transfer portal and have that guy as well. But here's the kicker. You got to pay for it. You know, something that I think is often misunderstood with scholarships is scholarships are not deferred. That tuition is not deferred. The athletic department writes a check to the university to cover the cost of that scholarship. So that's all part of the athletics budget. So if you're going to add 20 more scholarships in football and you're going to add more scholarships in baseball and softball and volleyball, now all of a sudden you're talking about potentially adding 60 more scholarships annually. Well, if that's at a $20,000 scholar or whatever that number might be, when higher than that, if you go room, board, et cetera, you're talking over $1 million. You know, probably closer to $2 million annually in expenses if you're adding 60 more scholarships. Well, not every program in America is going to be able to do that. LSU can. LSU can. ULM can't. Florida can. FIU can't. USC can. Well, it's not a good example because there's no like directional school in California. Fresno State can't. So that's going to be really interesting to see what happens there because the gap with the haves and the have-nots. I mean, you're noticing this, right? Every single piece of legislation that is being introduced, every change is only just widening that gap further and further between the haves and the have-nots. And if you're one of the haves, like LSU, awesome. Now, this comes with challenges. I mean, Scott Woodward and his team have to go balance a budget where now you're going to take $2 million more in expenses for scholarships, where you're going to have to pay out 20% of your revenue to share with your student athletes. You're going to have to balance this budget. There's new variables and challenges, but you can do it. You know, the 40, 50 schools in America that are able to do it, they just continue to see that gap widen. Football is one part of it, though. And not everybody in America today is going to be talking about this with respect to college baseball, but we are, because people here love college baseball. And forever, for as long as Title IX has been in existence and we have had equivalency sports, and if you're not familiar, there are head count sports like football where every scholarship player gets a full scholarship. 85 scholarship players, 85 full scholarships. In baseball, that's not the case. Baseball, you have 11.7 scholarships to divide up over your entire roster. So nobody is on a 100% full ride. You're giving a little bit of money. Maybe this guy gets books, however that may work. Well, that goes away. And the estimate, according to Ross Dellinger, or the expectation, according to Ross Dellinger, is that baseball is going to go to 34 scholarships. Now, post-COVID, with all the COVID, everything, the scholarship number, the roster number got bumped to 40. So it's going to normalize to 34. So baseball is expected to have a 34-man roster and be effectively a head count sport where all 34 players can get a full scholarship. That's awesome. That's awesome for a place like LSU. That's awesome for a place like Mississippi State or Florida or Kentucky or Tennessee or Texas A&M or Texas or Wake Forest, and schools that invest so much into baseball. It is really challenging for schools that lose money on baseball, even with 11.7. How do you then justify spending money on 34 scholarships. So while college baseball has had more parity because that's just inherent in baseball, football, there is no way Alabama A&M would ever beat Alabama in football, ever. We saw Southern beat LSU in baseball last year. It can happen in baseball. It's going to be harder and harder to happen. It's going to be more and more difficult to happen moving forward as the have-nots that can't afford 34 full scholarships continue to see their rosters erode even further. Two more things. As far as some of the numbers, Ross Dellinger, in this piece over at Yahoo, estimated about $2.5 million in additional revenue and scholarships. That's obviously going to vary based on school and how many new scholarships they're looking to invest there. And also, there has to be Title IX compliance. So if you increase scholarship it's in a men's sport, that's going to have to be replicated in a women's sport. So if you add 20 scholarships to football, and if you go from 11.7 to 34 in baseball, you're adding effectively 23 scholarships in baseball. I mean, right there, that's almost 50 scholarships you're adding in those two men's sports. Well, now you got to add 50 scholarships in women's sports. So where does that come in? And this was the interesting note from Dellinger. This is how the piece finished at Yahoo. He said, but not all programs can afford to add so many additional scholarships. Some administrators are in the process of tiering their sports by decreasing investment on certain programs and increasing investment in others. This includes staff and salary cuts, as well as reduction in scholarship from Olympic sports, especially those that generate little to no revenue. I've said for a long time, before all of this mess that we're seeing try to be sorted out, that I believe college athletics should be you eat what you kill. That's how it is in the real world. You eat what you kill. When I was a kid and we played baseball, we had an American Legion ball team, and we wanted to go play in a tournament. Well, it's vastly different now. Where, my God, kids are travel ball tournaments in different cities. I have friends, my nephew, they go. Kids are playing in different cities like every weekend. It's wild. No judgment. I mean, do your best for your kids. No judgment at all. It's just completely different is all I'm saying from what I grew up with. I mean, we wanted to go play in a tournament. And so I remember this. Like, we bought an autographed Nolan Ryan plaque and went door to door and sold raffle tickets in our neighborhood to try to raffle off the autographed Nolan Ryan plaque so we could put that towards going to play in the tournament. That's what we had to do. I think college athletics should be the same. There's no reason why sports should lose millions of dollars. If you're a net loss on the balance sheet, you don't need to be flying in private planes and staying in 5-star hotels. There's no reason for it. You don't need to be building new facilities for programs that lose money. Eat what you kill. You want to go play in some, tournament, whatever? Have a bake sale. Fundraise. Hit up your donors. I don't like, but like, I've always said it should not be football's job to fund the entire athletic department. And it shouldn't be the Power Five's job to fund the Group of Five with all the garbage, cupcake games that we see littered across college football just for a gate receipt. And that's exactly what Ross is saying here. This is what it took to get to this point. They have to start decreasing investment on certain programs and increasing investment on others. Staff and salary cuts. Why are you paying 6 figures to a coach of a program that you can count on 2 hands the number of fans in the stands that loses millions of dollars every year? Why aren't you paying them a salary that's more in line with what they generate? Like that makes sense everywhere else in the business world except in college sports. Well, this settlement, revenue share, NIL, all of it is forcing fiscal responsibility, which has evaded college athletics forever. Trev Alberts, the new AD at Texas A&M. Yes, that Trev Alberts who was once on TV. I'll continue to quote him because he said it best. College athletics does not have a revenue problem. College athletics has a spending problem. Not picking on golf, but there's no reason LSU's golf team should be flying private anywhere ever. Ever. Get your spending in line. This is forcing them to do it. And the net effect for a program like LSU in baseball is amazing. That you'll actually have full scholarships for every baseball player makes sense. The fact that a guy like Dylan Cruz comes to LSU's campus and doesn't get a full scholarship is fundamentally absurd. William Schmidt passes on millions in the draft to come to LSU and he doesn't get a full academic scholarship. That's fundamentally, or athletic scholarship, that's fundamentally absurd. This changes that. And if you can't afford it, go play in an arena that you can afford. Don't buy a $750,000 house when you make $46,000 a year. It ain't hard. Live within your means. We all have to do it. And college athletics is being forced to do it now as well. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for being here with us, y'all. Appreciate you for being here. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. By the way, if you have that house and you need windows, you better call Relief Windows because they're the best. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. Man, they do it all. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Give them a buzz. 288-8138, 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Remember, call Brandon, Holly, and the gang. I tell you all the time about that 3D model that they have. If you want to put siding on your house or new windows, it's awesome. Like, all you have to do is set up an appointment with an associate over there. They'll show you the exact siding, color, windows on a 3D model. So if you're visual like me, you can see exactly what it looks like instead of just like looking at a sample or a panel or something like that. You can see exactly how it would look on that 3D model. It's just another way that Relief Windows goes above and beyond. It's Relief Windows. Remember, lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Hey, by the way, the Olympics are underway, so we get to launch our Olympic update. Muse, are you ready for our Olympic update today?
Yeah, I am. It's always odd that the Olympics get underway before the opening ceremonies, but, whatever.
All about timing, Muse.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
When doesn't?
It's like in in Australia. The toilets flush backwards?
Yeah.
Did you know that? Down under?
Yeah.
That's what this is like.
South America, too, by the way.
That's what this is like.
I mean, kind of, but you then don't call it the opening ceremony. Like, you
Yeah,
can't
it
have
makes
the
perfect
opening
sense.
ceremonies after the event is open.
No, it makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, like the toilet thing.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not the most riveting action going on over there in Paris.
Don't blow it yet.
But we got some action.
We got action. We got action, boss. We're getting there.
And we get to play the Olympic theme.
I know. I'm so excited about it. All right, that's coming up in a little bit. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. People ask me all the time, hey, Scone, what's the mosquito thing you talk about all the time? So it's the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. It's over at Clegg's Nursery. It's the thing. It's the size of a track baton. You take the top off. There's little granules in there. You fill it up with water to the fill line, shake it up, put the cap back on, hang it on your property line. You are done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. I'm telling you, that is we have no other mosquito abatement treatment, nothing else at our house. And we have a pool and water behind our house as well. And we don't have a mosquito problem. It's kind of stunning. You would never think something that seemingly small and insignificant would work the way it does, but whatever it is, it does. And we don't have mosquitoes, and you can knock them out as well. So get by and see our friends over at Clegg's. Full greenhouses over at Clegg's Nursery. Johnny Naylor seeds, all the accessories that you need as well for your lawn and your garden. It's Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you. The Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Mosciona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be, where we want to be.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
Comedian, producer, and actor Joe Gatto is hitting the road on his Let's Get Into It tour, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is giving you a chance to see him live Friday, November 15th at the Raising Cane's River Center. Register to win tickets today at 1045ESPN.com.
UCLA took their turn at Big Ten Media Days today. Wait, did they change it? Is it Big 18 now? Or is it still Big Ten?
No, yeah, it's still the Big Ten.
Even though they got 18 teams?
Correct.
Okay. Well, Deshaun Foster took his turn today at Big 18 Media Days. I think next year they might actually move Big 18 Media Days. I don't know if you heard this. They're talking about moving it to Nick Saban Field at Bryan Dennehy Stadium.
Are they really?
They might do that next year.
Yeah, they could.
Anyway, so Deshaun Foster, of course, was former UCLA running back and an NFL running back who, when Chip Kelly basically said, I hate UCLA so much, I'm leaving to go be, I'm leaving millions of dollars on the table and leaving to go be a coordinator and call plays at Ohio State. UCLA at that point said, okay, well, let's hire someone that's never been a coach before. And so they hired Deshaun Foster to be their head coach. And they lost their defensive coordinator, DeAnt Lynn, who's now at USC. They lost their quarterback, Dante Moore, who's now at Oregon. So basically, UCLA is going to come to Baton Rouge this year and get absolutely smothered. This is going to be such a disaster of a season for UCLA. I kind of feel bad for Deshaun Foster. And that's not the only reason I feel bad for Deshaun Foster. Deshaun Foster had a 1 minute and 12-second opening statement at Big 18 Media Days today. I'm going to play the entire thing for you.
Coach Foster, welcome to the Big Ten. We'll begin with your opening statement.
How you guys doing?
Good start.
I'm happy to be here.
Good start.
Glad to be a part of this great conference. Finally putting two great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten.
Showing respect. You like it.
We're a school that's won, 123 championships, so this fits us being right in this conference.
Doing good.
Football-wise, we're just excited. I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA.
Is that where you are?
That's what it stands for.
It's us and USC. We I'm just basically excited, really. That's it. Any questions?
And the look on his face, too, is such a look of disappointment at the end. Like, he knows. He knows. Like, can you do is it possible to do a side-by-side with me and Deshaun? I don't know if you can do that. He's just like, man, I really screwed that up, didn't I? He started so good, too. Okay, get this one. I mean, the look on his face is like, this is such a big moment. I'm my first time as a head coach. Our first time at Big 18 Media Days. I'm replacing Chip Kelly. Everybody's watching. And I just really screwed that up, didn't I? Like, really badly. That's what that look is. He started so good, too. Talked about the two great emblems together. It's probably a line he had in his back pocket he was ready for. Mentioned the championships, which certainly an SID, a well-intentioned SID had prepped him. And then when he got into geography is kind of where it started to go a little bad. When he told us that that UCLA is in Los Angeles.
After prefacing that with, you probably don't know a lot about UCLA.
Yeah.
That's just rough, man.
And then telling us that USC is there as well.
Yeah.
And then pausing for about 18 seconds. That's just like a pregnant pause can be a very valuable literary tool. Like when you are speaking, a pregnant pause, I do it all the time on the show. I just did it right there. Sometimes it gets people's attention. Like, you're like, oh, wait, what? Should I be listening? Why did it go silent? Just did it again.
Yeah, I heard it.
And you just interrupted one. I was doing it again. You just interrupted one. I'm doing pregnant pauses. So a pregnant pause can be valuable, right? But 18 seconds is just too long. You know what I mean? Like, it's too much. That's when it's awkward. And then when you follow it up with a chuckle, it really gets to be problematic. And I think I know what happened here, Muse. I think he went up there without a script. It was going to be a really short opening statement anyway, right? He was just going up there to say hello. He had his go-to points. And he just blanked. He just blanked out. It's like a pitch on Shark Tank. Like when, you go up there, you've got your pitch memorized. Do you watch Shark Tank?
Not
ever?
regularly,
but
I have.
I love Shark Tank. Paulie, do you watch Shark Tank ever?
I don't watch it, but I have seen episodes in the past.
Well, sometimes the presenter goes out there and they've got like 3 minutes to make their pitch or whatever it is. And they've always got it memorized. They've practiced it. And sometimes they just freeze. And that's just what happened here. He just forgot where he was in his pitch. And he didn't have Robert Herjavec or Lori Grenier there to be like, the maternal or paternal figure that's like, it's okay, just take a deep breath, you're fine, just start over, get a little head pat sort of thing. He just didn't have that. And so he just chuckled and was like, I just screwed this up really badly, didn't I? They're going to make me a meme, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah, Deshaun. You are forever a meme, sir.
And you know what the worst part about this is for Deshaun Foss? Like, really the worst part?
What's that?
Like, it's only going to get worse from here. Like, this isn't even the worst part of his season. Maybe I could say that's the best thing about today, is that this isn't the worst part of his season, because he's got to go play this season, and they're going to be really bad.
Did he lose the press conference?
I don't know winning and losing press conferences.
Well, everybody said you can't lose the press conference. I mean, if you can.
Well, I don't say that.
That's got. I didn't say you did. I said
You
most
said everybody.
everybody.
You said everybody.
Okay, most everybody. That's a very well-known cliche that you can't lose the press conference. I think if you can, it kind of starts and looks like that. Or like Adam Gase, where he just looked completely drugged out of his mind.
They got UCLA at 5.5. We're going to talk to Bryan Fenley in 15 minutes. He covers UCLA. I'm curious what the thoughts are there on the Bruins. I'm trying to pull up their schedule real quick. Like, do you remember when LSU played Virginia Tech? Oh, God, I'm late. When LSU played Virginia Tech in a home-and-home, and LSU went there in 2002, and it didn't go well for LSU. It was a season opener. I was there, actually. It was the year they opened the seating in the end zone. It was the first year, and I sat in that end zone. Michael Vick, they retired Michael Vick's jersey at that game.
Heard of him.
And he flew in on a helicopter, like right before the game. It was a big open field next to the stadium. He just landed in a helicopter and then just walked right in the stadium. Anyway, it was pretty cool. And then they just kind of kept putting off that return trip. And then, like, the debt came due in 2007, and LSU pile drive them in Baton Rouge. I mean, that was an ass whipping. That's what this feels like. Like, LSU went there in 2001, the whole Sissy Blue thing and everything, and they couldn't guard that. Who was the tight end from UCLA? Remember, who caught everything? And
yeah, I don't remember his name.
They couldn't stop Charbonnet and the zone read, and it was just so not good. Like, this is going to be the antithesis of that. Like, that game in Baton Rouge is just going to be a royal ass kicking. It's going to be really, really one-sided. So UCLA, their schedule, by the way, is at Hawaii, which I guess they can win that, but it's always tough going from the mainland to Hawaii.
And it's week 0.
Yes, it is. No, it's week 1. It's August 31st.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then they get the next week off. And then they play Indiana at home. And then they come to Baton Rouge. And then it's Oregon. At Penn State, there's your road conference game where you're going to fly 6 hours. Minnesota. Then at Rutgers. So you're going to go to Penn State. I would assume you would just go straight to Minnesota, right? You're not going to go Penn State back to L.A. to Minnesota. Wouldn't you just go Penn State to Minnesota?
I mean, that would make sense.
And then you got to go back to Rutgers.
Yeah.
And then you're at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Home against Iowa, at Washington, Southern Cal, and Fresno State. Find me 5 wins there. Find me 5 wins. Find me 5 wins.
I'll give him Hawaii.
That's at Hawaii. I wouldn't even give them that. They are going to have it in the same way that Marcus Freeman had a bumpy start at Notre Dame. They lose to Marshall.
They did lose to Marshall.
I mean, don't be surprised if it's something like that. Like, UCLA is going to be horrid this year.
I get it, but if you're telling me to find you 5 wins,
okay,
I have to try. So I'm gonna give them Hawaii.
Okay.
Indiana at home. That's a long trip for Indiana. Okay. They're not beating LSU. They're not beating Oregon. They're not beating Penn State. They get Minnesota at home.
Row the boat.
Row the boat. I don't really know. I don't think they can go on the road.
They ain't beating Minnesota, bro.
At Washington, no. For us, I'd say take under. I can't find 5 wins just looking at it.
They're
right
not
now.
there.
No.
I mean, at Rutgers, I know Rutgers ain't great, but I like Schiano. And they're going to have to go they're going to fly across the country to Penn State, fly all the way back home, fly halfway across the country to Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota's at home.
Huh?
Minnesota's at home.
They'll come back to Minnesota, then fly all the way back to Rutgers.
Yeah. Literal cross-country trip to Rutgers.
Twice in 3 weeks. There's no bye there.
Nope.
All right, we're really late. Muse's Olympic, I forgot to do around the SEC. We went late. We'll get to around the SEC in a bit. Muso's Olympic update next.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Hey, we had our preseason AC tune-up a few weeks back. I'm going to tell you, the home we live in, there's the AC, there's two ACs. There's one for the house, and then the master bedroom has its own separate unit. That unit for the master bedroom is the original unit on the house from 1997. And when we moved into that house in 2016, they told us, this might be on its last leg. But every year we have our standard maintenance from River City's 1 Hour Air. And sometimes we've had to do some tweaks and sort of little maintenance jobs, but they've kept that thing running. And I haven't had to buy a new one because I get that standard maintenance. Y'all, it's River City's 1 Hour Air. They're just the best. If you have troubles with your AC, call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
Oh, it's time. Muse, hit it. Let's go. As we go to Augie Paris, it is that time where, at long last, 4 years in the making. Well, actually, like
3, really.
No,
yeah.
2, because we do it for the Winter Olympics too.
That's true too. I thought you just meant Summer Olympics.
It's time for the Olympic update. Tell us all the good news about how we're whipping foreigners, Muse.
All right. Well, so far you have 3 sports underway: football, aka soccer, to the normal world like us; handball and rugby.
Okay.
The United States men's rugby team. Bet you didn't know we had one of those. We do.
Oh, yeah, I did. We got the NOLA Gold.
We do.
Just down the street. They were in the playoffs, but they lost their playoff game.
They did. Quarterfinal. They completed group stage yesterday. Quarterfinal.
Wait, I'm sorry. they had games yesterday, too?
Yeah.
Why didn't we have an Olympic update?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, who does the Olympic updates on the show? Paulie, who does the Olympic updates on the show?
That would be Musso.
All right, hold on.
And we didn't have an Olympic update yesterday?
Yeah, no, we didn't. But anyway. Yeah. All right. So, men's quarterfinal rugby, Australia's destroying the United States 18-0.
Oh, no.
However, the U.S. women's national team in soccer is beating the snot out of Zambia 3-0. Actually, they did beat the snot out of Zambia 3-0. Okay. And the U.S. men's national team in soccer lost to France in group play 3-0.
Why do we stink?
Because it's soccer, Matt. We don't care.
But we do.
And it's rugby.
But we do care about soccer now.
No, we don't.
There's enough people in this nation, especially kids, for long enough now that we should be better than we are.
Well,
we're a nation of 350 million people. How many people are on a soccer team in the Olympics? 20? 15? Something like that? I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
You can't find 15 blokes out there that are good enough to run around and kick a ball into the net?
Apparently not.
Why are we great in women's soccer, but not in men's soccer?
That's a really good question.
It's embarrassing.
First medal is going to be awarded on July 27th.
All right. That's your Olympic update from Gabe Pelly. Should we do away with the Olympic theme and do some like French music instead? Oh, that'd be a good idea.
Absolutely not.
Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. I could probably use a sip of Evermore right now. Get my bottle of Evermore. Drink every day. You should as well. Thanks to everybody who has taken a chance. You know, it's so easy, I think, to just walk into the store, the convenience store, whatever it may be, and grab the bottle that you're familiar with. But one thing you're going to find with Evermore is, as far as pricing, competitive, quality of the product, unmatched. Grab another one of the sort of popular bottles that you might see from time to time and take a look at the label and see how many things are added. Minerals added for flavor, things added to your water or extracted from your water. Not with Evermore. This is a natural artesian water. They pump straight out of a well on the North Shore of Louisiana into their filtration system, into this bottle to give you a healthier option. It's Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Mosciona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Right-hander Dylan Cease throws the second no-hitter in Padres history today and the second in baseball this season, beating the Nationals 3-0. 2 years ago, Cease was 1 out away from a no-hitter against the Twins when Luis Arraez broke it up. Arraez is now Cease's teammate in San Diego. New Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins medically cleared to practice. He tore his right Achilles with the Vikings last October. Coach Raheem Morris says Cousins will not play in the team's preseason games. The Cowboys with contract uncertainty for a few big names, including wideout CeeDee Lamb, who has not reported to camp. Team owner Jerry Jones.
Does that ever happen? Of course it does. Look all over the league. It happens all over the league. So I don't flare when it's happening to us. I'm aware of it. You must give me that I'm aware that we want to get these guys to camp. Business as usual.
Jerry Jones. Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson held out of practice today with calf tightness. He is day-to-day.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, Joe Burrow said he knows he's pretty good. I'll tell you why he's about to run out of excuses. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Mosciona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Ross Jackson from Irvine, California, 1 hour from right now with our Saints Camp Report, Day 2. We head back out to L.A., incidentally. Bryan Fenley, who does a UCLA postgame there at AM 570, does a lot of media out in Westwood and parts beyond. Good enough to join us here, talk a little bit about UCLA, which made their debut at Big Ten Media Days, and obviously their debut season in the Big Ten. Bryan, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Guys, I'm doing well. I'm just saying don't put too much thought into how Deshaun Foster did at Media Day. I don't think that's going to really explain what the team's going to do. But, yeah, there's a lot of talk about his performance yesterday.
Yeah, we played it on the show, and I surmised, Bryan, that he probably went up there with, I don't know, probably a prepared statement and got halfway through it and then just lost it. His mind went blank, and so he had a long pause and then just moved on from it. Have you talked to him? I mean, I know you did a sit-down with him in his office. I saw that on Twitter. But him or anyone around the program about that incident? I call it an incident loosely.
Yeah. Here's the thing about this, and I don't know how many people are talking about this element added to the equation here of what happened yesterday, but UCLA's top SID, their sports information director for football, the PR guy, whatever you want to call it, he retired going into this season, and they haven't found somebody to officially replace him yet. I throw that out there because he's the guy that's going to be prepping and briefing the coaches about, hey, here's what we're doing here. This is this interview opportunity. Here's what they're going to ask you, and be ready for it. So, look, I know that on the surface it looks bad, but just to think about not having that, and we all know the power of, you guys understand the power of the SID and what they can do as far as controlling the narrative and also prepping the people that they represent, as in the athletes and the coaches. But not having him, I'm not saying it's just that, but on top of that, you have to consider that there is that issue. And with Deshaun Foster and his temperament, he is soft-spoken. He is humble. He's not, as he said yesterday, going to give you the raw speech. He's not a used car salesman. He's not going to be one of those guys that's going to be, I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to share with you my passion, and I hope that you're aligning with that and that people would come to him because of that as far as recruits.
Yeah, I think Mike Leach used to show up at SEC Media Days and say, I'm not into opening statements. Any questions? That was it. So I'm not going to make too big. Look, it was a funny thing, and most people will laugh at what happened. But obviously, it'll have no bearing whatsoever what you do on the field. I'm curious. The last time you and I talked was whenever they hired Deshaun Foster. So from February to now, what have they done within that program? Obviously, Chip Kelly's gone. Deanton Lynn is gone. Dante Moore is gone. What have they done from February to now when we last spoke to get themselves to a spot where they might be able to be competitive on the field?
Eric Bieniemy, I think that's a big addition to the staff as the offensive coordinator. We all know what he's done at the NFL level and coaching Patrick Mahomes. That is a humongous addition. That's going to help Deshaun Foster a whole lot. I think anybody in Deshaun's position, look, he comes from being a running backs coach, and that's a big jump from a position coach like that to being a head coach. And usually that's something that not a lot of people can handle. But because it's the alma mater for Deshaun Foster, he's very well aware of the environment as far as the politics you have to play, the people that are helping you that are in your inner circle, the recruiting landscape. And Eric Bieniemy is very much familiar with his UCLA ties as well. But one of the biggest things that I've seen for UCLA is just a general jump in the level of talent that they're bringing in from a recruiting standpoint. I can say this now since Chip Kelly is gone. He did a lot of damage when it comes to recruiting classes in the form of, look, the guy just didn't put a whole lot of effort into recruiting, and UCLA, unfortunately, is paying the price of that. And I think they will for the next couple of years, particularly in the Big Ten. But all Deshaun Foster has been doing is been trying to bolster these recruiting classes now, get them back to where they're supposed to be in the top 25, because under Chip Kelly, you think about building a program when you've got years of dismal recruiting and you're not getting really any major talent. You're going to start to feel the effects of that, and it's not Deshaun's fault, but he's been trying to repair that and try to get the recruiting on a different stead, and I think he's making the moves to make that happen.
Was there anything Deshaun Foster did at Media Day, aside from the opening statement thing, that people are talking about? Anything he said or did where he maybe got a win on Media Day?
I honestly think that was the only thing that really, if you want to call that a blip from his efforts and all the different media responsibilities that he had yesterday. He was on other podcasts I saw, and the thing about Deshaun is he's been in the spotlight as a running back in the NFL. But it's fascinating, when we talk to these athletes, and whether they're great college guys or great pro, that they can be so calm with thousands and hundreds of thousands of people watching them in a stadium and even on television, millions watching at home. But the act of public speaking is, for some reason, it's not transferable in terms of being comfortable with yourself. This is going to be a work in progress for Deshaun. But I will say that from all I saw, all he needs is to feel comfortable. And there were other outlets that did interviews with him, and he seemed to really get comfortable, a question or two in, and then just start talking about your football team. I don't know how much he was aware of how he had to structure the opening statement. From what I understood, I think he had it in his mind that it was more so, hey, I'm coming to the podium, and I'm going to answer questions. He tried to throw in a joke there with, I think, L.A. And you might not have heard that USC is here during what was, yes, an awkward exchange.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that he just wasn't prepped enough, and I'm not putting that anybody on one person's fault, but you have to go back to something that nobody's talking about. The main SID at football, UCLA, who's been there for a long time, has just retired, and that's a hole that I think was shown in yesterday's activities.
Bryan Fenley is with us on Twitter at Bryan Fenley, Bryan, if you want to give him a follow, covers UCLA. We were looking at the schedule last hour, and I know Vegas has the Bruins over under 5.5. And, man, the thing that just glaringly looks you in the face, Brian, my goodness, at Penn State, I mean, cross-country, right? Then back home from Minnesota, then back to the Northeast at Rutgers, then at Nebraska. Like, that stretch of travel is just heinous. Man, when you look at the schedule, when UCLA people look at the schedule, like, that's what stood out to me. Like, what are the conversations, the narratives that you all are having?
Well, and then let's not forget that their first game of the season is out in Hawaii, which if you're flying even from L.A. to Hawaii, that's about a 5-hour trip, too. So it's like you're going to the East Coast in another way as far as the time of the year on an airplane. So, I'm looking at the schedule, and I think that it's pretty fair, that 5.5 number that you threw out there. I think if you look at the schedule, you got Hawaii and you got Indiana. You got to win those two games. And then if you can come up with a few other wins, like the Rutgers one, the Minnesota, this is going to be a sort of a deer in the headlights, I think, when you get to Penn State. And look, I love the Rose Bowl and all that it stands for, but one of the problems that it's had for so long is that it's not on campus. The first couple of weeks of the season, school isn't even in session.
Right.
So the numbers of people that are there, 40, 45,000, that's about it. Unless LSU comes to town, which was a great game a few years ago at the Rose Bowl where they almost were able to fill it. But it's the amount of people, it's being the ones that are in the spotlight, traveling to an away stadium. This is something that Sean Foster talked about. I don't know if the guys are ready for what they're about to experience because the Pac-12 has, as good as it's been, this is going to be a rude awakening for these guys and on a stage that they've never been on before, just based upon, like you're talking about, the hundreds of thousands of people that will be at these games in these Big Ten stadiums.
And Baton Rouge week 3. I mean, when it is an unforgiving gauntlet laid forth here for Deshaun Foster in year one. Like, they have certainly not set him up for success in year one. We'll see what ultimately he might be able to build. Hey, before you go, Brian, I know, look, a lot of people here, of course, we're talking so much about the USC game because it's the opener, and obviously UCLA will be in Baton Rouge in week 3. Tell us a name on that UCLA team that we don't know. I mean, a couple years ago, like, everybody got to know Zach Charbonnet, and there's some really talented guys, DTR. Who's a name now on this UCLA team that LSU fans should know or will know after that week 3 game?
Yeah, I'm going to give you two, one on defense, one on offense. Offense, Keegan Jones, he is a speedster. He was misused, mismanaged by Chip Kelly. It was a disgrace that he didn't allow Keegan Jones to get as much play and as much smell on the field. He's going to be great with the ball in his hands, and on anything that he can do on the perimeter, he is going to make up some big gains with the ball and the rock in his hands. On defense, Jay Toia, he's a defensive lineman. Both of these guys were actually going into the transfer portal. They were wooed back to UCLA. The stalwart on the line, Jay Toia, he feasts on dudes in the backfield, and then Keegan Jones with the rock in his hand can make guys miss and just break ankles with his moves.
Well, football's almost here, man, and while talking season can be fun, it's just going to be way better when they tee it up and kick it off, and we get a little closer with every single day. Hey, Brian, we appreciate it, man. I'm sure we'll talk again as we get closer to LSU and UCLA there in week 3.
Yes, thanks for having me, man. Always appreciate being a part of this.
Yep, it's our pleasure. That is Bryan Fenley talking a little Bruins there. Over under 5.5 for UCLA. I thought he had a very realistic look at that schedule. I mean, he said it point blank, like the travel and going to Penn State and all. Like, I think his words were, didn't he say, like, I think these guys are probably going to be in for a rude awakening? I think that might have been how he said it exactly. I think that's a very fair way to look at it, man. It's just going to Pullman, Washington, and going to Happy Valley are very different. Going to Tucson, Arizona, and going to Lincoln, Nebraska are very different. A night game in Baton Rouge is not going to be super great for them. I mean, That is going to be, I don't know what the line's going to be in that game, but that is going to be a whitewashing in week 3. LSU is going to crush UCLA in that game. I don't know how they get over 5.5 with this team. The Eric Bieniemy angle was an interesting one to see what Bieniemy might be able to do offensively there and see if Deshaun Foster can get these guys to play hard for him. I just don't know what they have there with all this turnover against this schedule. That's just going to be a mighty challenge. The one other thing, though, he mentioned there is some validity to saying that the longtime SID isn't there and they hadn't replaced him, because as sports information directors do prep coaches and players before events like this. That is very common. I mean, you'll see Michael Bonnet every time in a post-game interview will go and hand the coach the post-game stats or whatever. That is a very common thing. However, if you're a major college football head coach, you should be able to stand on a stage and speak for 60 seconds to open a press conference. You shouldn't need an SID to tell you how to open a press conference. But in any event, first-time head coach, look, we'll all have our fun with it, but maybe he'll get the last laugh if they end up winning some games. We'll see how it goes. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're aboard with us here. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you are thinking about buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. You know what to do. You go to firstsouthland.com. Great people, man. I love telling you about our friends over at First South Farm Credit. They're just, I talked to Ben and Tim, the folks over there. They're just great people, and it's great to know them and know that when you call First South Farm Credit, these are the people you're dealing with, man. People from Louisiana that since 1916, the one thing they've done is help Louisianians buy land. They're not just agriculture. I think everybody in agriculture knows First South Farm Credit. You need 1,000 acres for agriculture, you call First South Farm Credit. Everybody knows that. What you may not know, if you want to buy that hunting property, this is the best time. You're prepping your summer food plots. You want to bring the deer in now. You want to build that deer stand now. You don't want to do it right before hunting season. So this is the time to give our friends at First South Farm Credit a call. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. We missed around the SEC last hour. Totally my fault. I just got a little long-winded talking about the new scholarship limits and stuff in college. If you haven't heard, Ross Dellinger reporting football is next year will increase to 110 scholarships, and baseball will now be a head count sport, so from 11.7 to likely 34 scholarships, which is great news. I gave my thoughts. So we missed around the SEC. Let me get to that, and we'll also reset some of what Dennis Allen had to say after camp today. Ross Jackson's here in 45 minutes, but DA did talk about Saldivari and Penning and their spots and rotating and all that, so we'll touch on that a bit when we come back. Glad you're here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Man, every night when I get home from work during the summer and during these months, every night, eat a little dinner, put on the swimsuit, go take a dip in the pool. Love to put Drew in the pool as well. He loves to swim. That's also was great therapy for him when he was really young and building, core strength and so on. If you've thought about that dream of having that backyard paradise, you need to call Duplessis Builders. Listen, you probably have vetted pool companies or heard of other pool companies. The bottom line is, at Duplessis, Derek Duplessis would rather pass on a job than build something that's substandard, than cut corners to save a cost and expense here or there, do something quicker. There's a reason why Duplessis offers a 10-year workmanship warranty when the industry standard is 1 year. They build quality that will last. It's Duplessis Builders. Online, duplessisbuilders.net. Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 22.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
Saints are back on the practice field day 2 out at UC Irvine. Ross Jackson's here in 39 minutes. Give us a first-hand account. Ross will be with us again every single day here during camp, all the way as long as the Saints are out there in Irvine, giving us a first-hand account of what he saw. So we appreciate Ross for that. That's, again, coming up here, right there at the top of Hour 3. Dennis Allen met with reporters after practice. The single biggest question in this camp is the offensive line. You're replacing 3 starters. You're trying to see if Taliesin Fuanga can stick at left tackle as a rookie. Will Trevor Penning find a home at right tackle? Can Nick Saldiveri, last year's 4th-round pick, win the left guard job with Andrus Peat now with the Las Vegas Raiders? Well, one of the questions Dennis Allen was asked is when they might start rotating reps at right tackle and left guard, because right now you've seen Penning get the right tackle reps and Saldiveri get the left guard reps. So when are you going to start to see other guys get in the mix there?
Right now you have your first group, you have your second group, you have your third group, and here's what I need to see. I need to see somebody in the second group that catches my eye enough to say, hey, this guy needs to go run with the ones. Same with the third group going to the second group. And so I think we have a starting place where we're at right now. And I think we need to see that group of 5 work together and see what that looks like. But then I also think, it's really kind of the player's job to say I deserve to be up there with the ones. And when they prove they're deserving of that, then I think that's the time that we start getting them some reps there.
I love that point of view. But can't we also say the opposite is true? Meaning, you'd love to see someone performing so well with the 2s that you have to give them reps with the 1s. But my point is the flip side is also true. What happens if the guys with the 1s don't perform and you have to seek another option, right? That's what happened a year ago with Trevor Penning. You spent all offseason making him your left tackle. And then you got 3 games into the season and realized this is a disaster. He can't play there. And so you had to put someone else in that position. It wasn't that James Hurst won the job or Andrus Peat won the job with their play. It was the opposite that was true. So in a sense, yes, I would love to see that happen. I would love to see someone like Shane Lemieux or one of those guys that they brought in Oli Udoh play so well that you're like, man, we got a legit starter here. We got to give him reps. That would be an awesome situation to breed real competition there at those spots. But there's also the possibility of the other thing. When you put on pads, it's very hard right now. They're not wearing pads yet. When you put on pads and you start seeing ones-on-ones out there in camp and you get into the preseason games, you're going to see for real if those guys are ready to roll at this level. If not, then you need to start getting other guys reps. Again, it's hard to really make much out of the line of scrimmage until they put on pads, but it's something we're going to talk about. One more as far as them. D.A. was asked about the benefit of Saldivari and Penning not rotating, effectively getting all the reps right now.
I think it benefits our whole offense when there's some continuity in there. I think when you are mix matching every single, whether every period, every day, whatever the case may be, I think it becomes a little bit more challenging, in particular at that position, the offensive line position. I think there's some other positions that it's not quite the same, but I think at that position, the synchronicity that has to go in with everybody being on the same page is important in that position.
All right, D.A. talking with reporters today about the offensive line. We'll get Ross Jackson's thoughts next hour. Brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. I always say commercial or residential. As a matter of fact, I got a text today on the show text line. I won't tell you from who, but it was from the general manager of a hotel in Baton Rouge and said, hey, look, I think we had some damage from Ida, and it's causing some issues and some condensation issues. We're having roof problems. Can y'all come take a look? Absolutely. Tell you every day. It doesn't matter if it's your single-family residential property or the largest commercial or even industrial job in the state. We'd love to help you out. Parrish Construction and Roofing. With our team having more than 3 decades of experience in roofing, we've handled effectively every type of roof that you can imagine, and we'd love to have the opportunity to win your business. So give us a shout. You can go to the website, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. There's a form right there on the homepage. You can fill it out. If you want to contact me directly, you can shoot me a text on the text line. That's what this gentleman did. 225-364-1007, 364-1007. Forgive me, that's the phone number to Parrish. If you want to text me, it's 396-4400. That's a lot of numbers I just threw out, and I don't expect you to remember them. If you want to text me, you can, 396-4400. You can always call us at Parrish. You're going to talk to a living, breathing human. I mean, Christina, who's our office manager, is probably going to answer the phone. If Christina can't get to it, it'll ring to cell phones. You might get Richard Tilley. You might get Terrio. You might get Joe. You might get Trent. It doesn't ring to my phone because I don't think they want me actually answering calls about roofing issues. They just want me to talk about it. So I'll play my role. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Commercial or residential, industry as well. Do business with someone you know. That's Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Okay, we missed it last hour. Let's make good right here. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Cue my music, Muse. Alabama's lost another one. Where's my music? Did you hear about this? It's a big one, Muse.
What happened?
Wisconsin's hiring Alabama recruiting specialist Brandon Rose as assistant director of player personnel. They're all leaving Tuscaloosa, Muse. They stink. It's burning. The smoldering flames just continue to burn. The rubble burning to the ground right now. It's gone. It's over. You dorks and losers and dweebs. I've been trying to tell you this for months and months and months. You lost your OC after a day. Your 5-star recruit, Julian Sayin, left. He's at Ohio State. Your number 1 safety, Caleb Downs, he's at Ohio State. Your best transfer player you got was your own player, Caden Proctor, who left and came back. Y'all are celebrating finally keeping somebody. You're so desperate to latch onto the past, you named the field after Nick Saban. Haven't even played a game yet. Nick Saban Field at Bryan Dennehy Stadium. It's not going to matter because you know it's going to happen as soon as you kick off right there at midfield. Right there in that Crimson A at Nick Saban Field in Bryan Dennehy Stadium. It'll open up and suck you all to the depths of football hell. But you know what? Remember, Muse, who does Alabama play in week 2, Muse?
Wisconsin.
Where do they play that game, Muse?
Madison.
Yeah, they do in Madtown. Alabama recruiting specialist Brandon Rose leaving Tuscaloosa for Wisconsin to be their assistant director of player personnel. You know what I call him, Muse?
What's that?
I call him smart. Yeah. I need more music, Muse. It's not nearly loud enough. Crank that up by now, you should know. I was at Media Days last week, Muse. You know what everybody asked me about?
What did everybody ask you about?
This. Flames around my head. Screaming about the Crimson Tide. And every chance I get, I'm going to remind you that your flippin' dynasty is over. That Kalen DeBoer will never win the way Nick Saban did. And it continues to be evidenced by the fact that recruiting specialists like Brandon Rose are leaving to become the assistant director of player personnel at Wisconsin. You're losing recruiting guys to Wisconsin. Luke Fickell and cheese. They don't want to sit there and eat your Dreamland barbecue. They want cheese curds. That's what Brandon Rose wants. Okay, we can go back to around the SEC now.
Texas A&M!
Oh, Ryan Prager's coming back to school. Did you see that? A&M's ace. Woo! He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Angels. It is so rare ever to see a player go in the top 10 rounds and pass on their contract. Because typically they got the contract terms agreed upon. You know what happened here. He got drafted in round 3, and some A&M booster said, oh, your slot value is $900K? All right, here's $1 million. Come back to school. He's like, all right, we'll do. I'll pass on the bus rides. Guarantee you that's what happened. Oh, one more.
The Florida Gators.
Sorry, Evan Oschenbeck. He's going to begin his professional career instead of going back to A&M.
The Florida Gators.
And South Florida transfer slugger Bobby Bozer has signed with Florida, 6'1", plays final year of college eligibility. Top 250 prospect entering this year's MLB draft. Hit 299 and 12 homers. Yeah, he'll be a corner infield guy in Gainesville. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you here with us on this Thursday edition of AFR. Should we clip that one and post it and tag Ryan Fowler and all our Alabama friends?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impromptu, but yeah, I mean, I guess. Why not?
Okay. It's been a minute.
It has.
See, here's the thing. If we post one where we were talking, like we're not talking about like the offensive coordinator guy that was there for a minute and then left and went to the Seahawks, Ryan Grubb. We weren't talking about like a 5-star quarterback like Julian Sayin leaving. I was talking about like some random recruiting specialist guy. Like, do you think they'll get that they're being trolled at this point? Even though I have openly said, like I've said, I'm trolling you. Now, I do believe they're not going to be as good as they've been. I think Bama loses 3 games this year. I think they go 9-3. I think they lose to Georgia, at Tennessee, at LSU. So they lose those 2 road games, just like they did a couple of years ago. I think they lose those 2 road games, lose to Georgia. But I've said, like, hey, I'm trolling you. And they still don't seem to get that they're being trolled.
You don't get the show.
I know. They really don't get the show.
Mm-mm. And they wouldn't get it now.
Yeah, even though I'm saying it right now?
Yeah, they wouldn't. Okay. We're not going to include this part in it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we're not. But they're just going to be like, oh, that guy, no one even knew who he was. He can go to Wisconsin. You know, he's nothing. That's going to be their response.
I can't wait to read all those comments.
That's going to be their response.
Okay, Paulie, let's make sure we put that up. Twitter, Facebook, the whole thing, right? Let's put that up there. I like it. They're so stupid. They all ask me about it at media day. Everybody.
Good to know people are seeing it.
Oh, God, are people seeing it?
Thanks for watching, guys, over there in T-Town.
Oh, man. Not just T-Town.
Yeah.
Well, like everybody. All right. It's after further review. What do we have to do? All right, we got a break. All right, Ross Jackson, 30 minutes. We'll have Tigers and the Pros about 15 minutes from right now. I do want to update. Man, I didn't intend for this show to be so heavy on the off-field stuff. Like we did the scholarship conversation last hour, scholarship levels increasing. But it's just, I guess, interesting because this has kind of been some of the storylines coming out of Big Ten Media Days. Ohio State's A.D. Ross Bjork, formerly at A&M, actually put a number on how much in NIL they spent on their football roster. And so I want to react to that. We'll do it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, want to take a quick minute here and talk to plant managers, maintenance managers, turnaround coordinators. If you aren't familiar yet with Action Industries, you need to be. They're a great company, first and foremost, man. Like, getting to know Chuck and all the gang over at Action's been awesome. I told y'all a few months back during the NBA season, like, they got the suite for the Pelicans game, was able to go hang out there. The Hesters came with us as well. Got to go hang out in the suite with the Action crew. They're awesome people to get to know. That part has been so important, just knowing the people. But the business component of it is awesome at Action Industries. 2 physical locations. Geismar, Highway 30 in Geismar, and then in Belrose. And since 1982, they've just done exceptional work. The highest quality and safety levels at Action Industries. They're a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Action Industries.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Mosciona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
The best.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
Hey, did we ever get results of our poll question yesterday, Muse?
Ooh, let me look those up.
I'd love to know what happened with that.
That's just a few clicks away, sir.
Okay. There's a, so if you haven't heard yet, here at Guarantee, we're in the merch game now as well. Website 929 Misfits, MISFITS 929 Misfits. our building here is at 929 Government Street, hence the anyway. And there's an FUSC shirt up in our merch store. Party like it's 2003. I can pull that up for you, Paulie. And so we asked the question like, should I wear that shirt to Vegas for the game? It would certainly play for whiskey and wine.
Yep.
I'm trying to find it. I don't see it in here. Oh well. I can't find it here. I'll go to the website. Anyway, so should I wear it for the game, or is it a little too crude? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little more professional. Should I wear it? I don't know. What do people say? Here you go, Paul. You can pull this up. What do people say?
83% said yes, wear it.
Said wear the shirt.
Said to wear the shirt.
To wear the FUSC shirt.
To the game, yeah.
To the game. There it is. FUSC, party like it's 2003. What's funny, so Michelle Southern told me that after we talked about it yesterday, the website kind of popped up and a bunch of people went and bought the shirt.
That's what we like.
Oh, man. It is kind of fun to be able to do the irreverent thing. I think there's like a let the band play net. Like, pull this up, Ollie. There's some good stuff in here. So there's the FUSC shirt. I like this. There's a Nuss Bus shirt as well.
I like that one a lot,
That's
too.
like a cool design, like with an actual bus with a 13 in the window. That's kind of cool. So there's that. There's another one. Oh, check. This is a new one, too. Check this one out, Muse.
Ooh.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. I like the yellow one.
Wait, you like the gold?
Yeah, I like the gold one.
So it's Skeens with like it just says Skeens with a giant K, like as if it's a strikeout.
It's really good.
So there's black with gold lettering, gold with black lettering. That's pretty cool. It's a good one. Oh, look, purple and gold too.
Hey, yeah, throwback. Dig it.
There's another one too in there that I wanted to find that I saw last night. I'll tell you what Erica's going to be wearing to the game.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Wait, hang on.
Does it come in another color?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a white one. I saw it. Hold on. It's a I gotta find. Oh man, where is it? It's a Tay-Tay shirt.
There it is.
It's a Tay-Tay shirt. So it's Taylor Swift, or like a silhouette, I guess, a cartoonish version of Taylor Swift, and it says "Karma is a tiger." You know her song "Karma."
I mean, I've heard of the song. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard it plenty. Trust
I know
me.
you have for sure.
Karma is the guy in the Chiefs. That was the
she ad-libbed it that time. Yeah.
So in the song, she's like, they say there's a line where she says, "Karma is a cat." Karma's a cat purring in my lap, looking like a GD acrobat, whatever. Trust me. Like I explained yesterday. Anything else at this point. Like every time we're in the car, it's nothing but Tay-Tay. But anyway, so there's a Taylor Swift Karma is a tiger shirt. Erica's going to wear that to the game, I guarantee you.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to wear that to the game now. That might be the next one that pops off all of a sudden.
Maybe. And they have kid sizes doing a lot of kids like Taylor Swift, which is cool. But anyway,
tank top.
Wait, so what was the verdict on the FUSC?
83% said you should wear it to the game.
83% said yes, wear it, huh?
Yep.
But that's also Twitter. Like, should we listen to Twitter?
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. We've listened to Twitter for a lot of things on this show.
I don't know.
I think we have.
I think we ask Twitter things. I don't know that I necessarily pay attention to. When have I listened to Twitter on something?
I think we did a couple things with the Bachelor. We listened to Twitter for that. Definitely my drop. But really, it's just things that involve me.
No, we didn't Twitter drop. That was my thing. I was like...
No, but remember, because then we ended up playing a few different ones. We were like, okay, let's put it to Twitter. And Barbie Girl won. So we're like, okay, we're
Remember,
Muse,
that. As I often say to you, this is a radiotatorship. This is not a radiocracy.
You're getting better at that.
You notice I paused. Pregnant paused.
Yeah.
To make sure I had it.
No awkward chuckle there.
Oh, man. Deshaun Foster is so brutal.
Poor guy.
I do feel for him.
I do, too. That's
I really
a tough
do feel
spot,
for him.
man.
But, like, you got to be able... I'm sorry, man, but, like, you're the head coach of a major college football program. You've got to be able to competently stand on a stage for 60 seconds and deliver an opening statement. Like, guys, it's great to be here. Two great emblems, UCLA, the Big Ten, paired together there. Really excited about our football team. Happy to answer any questions you got. Like,
that's it.
That's all you needed to say. You want to throw in a joke? You may not know not a lot about us. We're from L.A.
Was that a joke?
Well, that's what Brian Fenley said.
But okay, it just didn't come off as a joke.
It didn't land.
No.
It for sure didn't land. Anyway. Yeah, if you have to ask, was that a joke?
That's
not great. Oh, one thing that we did learn at Big Ten Media Days. So Ross Bjork, who's the AD over at Ohio State. Remember, Ross Bjork was the AD at A&M, left A&M for Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Ross Bjork said on the record that, to Yahoo Sports that Ohio State football players received around $20 million in NIL deals this past year. That's believed to be the highest in the sport. So, and by the way, that's NIL, that's Ohio State football players. That's not the whole athletic department. That's football players. It's interesting because sometimes, I don't know if it's just because I'm on the air or if it's being that I'm on some of these lists for program director stuff or whatever. I get a lot of emails, which are like content ideas, right? It's a lot of authors, quite honestly. Hey, so-and-so's book, here's a content idea. You want to interview this guy? I get these into my inbox all the time. Well, I got this one today, and it was interesting. It was from a site called Just Gamblers. I have no idea, but they essentially did a lot of legwork, and they cite sources like the On3 NIL Deal Tracker. They looked at data of college announcements, a lot of different stuff that has been public, even though NIL deals don't have to be public. They essentially aggregate a lot of data, right? Because a lot of these deals are like you see the deliverable, like you see Angel Reese and Mercedes, right? You heard the spots here. You see Will Campbell and our friends over at Sunshine John Deere, right? All the Gordon McKernan stuff. Like it's public. The deliverables are public. So they did the legwork trying to sort of accrue all this. And they looked at the top athletic departments with athletes who had the most NIL deals. Florida, number one, with 498 NIL deals. Texas, second at 367. Then Ohio State at 286. So big gaps among those. Oklahoma was 4. Stanford was 5. Tennessee, and then LSU. How about LSU at 6 with the 6th most deals? Which is interesting, but when you look at total value, clearly Ohio State, according to Ross Bjork there, has outpaced others. And I would tell you, man, I think this is a catch-22 there for Ross Bjork. If you're going to go publicly say that your student athletes have done $20 million in NIL deals, your football team has done $20 million in NIL deals, there's a catch-22, right? The appeal is very obvious. You're talking to recruits, and you say, our athletes did $20 million in NIL deals last year. Well, that snaps for a recruit to say, hey, I want to go there. I can make bank. But the flip side of it is, think about all the guys currently on your roster not making that money. And wouldn't you, if you're a starting player at Ohio State, look around and go, wait a minute, they got what? We did how much in NIL deals? So that is a double-edged sword when you actually start talking numbers. I mean, think about it. You can think about it in this term as well, like in these terms as well. Think about in your place of business, like where you work. There's a reason why they don't publicize what all of your coworkers' salaries are. Because wouldn't you be inclined to say, oh, she makes that much? He makes that much? Well, you know what I mean? Like there can be that sort of competition or resentment. Like there's a lot that goes on when you start actually talking publicly about money. So we'll see if that backfires on Ross Bjork. There's definitely a positive to it, but there's negative net effects there also. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 2. We'll come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Stick around.
AFR.
Man, I was talking to Terrio this morning. And I've told you, obviously, Terrio and I were partnered with Parrish, but Terrio and Richard Tilley, they also have an industrial company, T3 Industrial. And boy, they have really started to scale very quickly. And they are running into problems. I shouldn't say problems. It's just challenges where they have to scale employment. And Terrio called me today and said, hey, I need you to give me a contact over at Glow Resources because we need to scale. We need to find people quickly and qualified people that we can find quickly to do these jobs. So I put him in touch with Jareth Nakan over at Glow Resources. I'm telling you, it's not just a company that I talk about here on the air. It's a company that I believe in. You walk into the front door at Glow, and you just get it. It's hard to explain, but there's a culture at that place where it's fun. People want to work there, and people want to work with Glow Resources. And they deliver. GLO, glowresources.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined we...
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Jamar Chase continues his hold in at Cincinnati Bengals camp. He is present, but has not practiced now for 2 straight days. Kelsey Conway of the Cincinnati Enquirer notes that Bengals star wide receiver Jamar Chase was just standing on the sideline, no helmet, while the team stretched Thursday and then did not participate in any drills. Zach Taylor, after practice on Thursday, said that Chase is healthy, but sidestepped any questions directly asking about the hold-in, saying, quote, "It's a plan that Jamar and I have."
Okay.
Jamar is going into year 4. He's set to make $1.055 million. He would like a new deal.
I don't blame him.
Alex Bregman.
Callahan!
No. Huge day for Bregman last night for the Astros. 2 for 4, his 20th double of the season. That came late in the ballgame, and it drove in 2 runs.
Laced it.
would come around to score as well.
Would you look at all those roaring fans in Oakland?
They love that team in Oakland. I mean,
Yes, sir. They love their team here in Cleveland.
They can't get enough of those Oakland Athletics.
Oh, man.
Astros got the win 8-4. Josh Smith last night. There you go. Josh Smith for the Rangers. Also a 2-for-4 day. Both of those singles drove in 2 runs as well. So a couple RBIs for Smith. 285 the average so far.
Boy,
He's doing a really strong job.
Yeah, boy.
You want to know how good Trey Morgan's doing?
I would love to know how good Trey Morgan is doing.
Trey Morgan went 1 for 5 last night with a run scored, which admittedly,
stinks.
that's not a great day at the park. It's not awful, but it's not a great day at the park.
Hitting 200 for the day.
He's still hitting 382 on the season.
Got it.
Call him. Why is he getting to AA at least? Like, what are we doing, Rays? I know I don't know everything about your system, but clean it up.
I thought he was in AA.
No. High A ball now, I believe, for Morgan. Or maybe he is in AA.
I thought he got called up to AA.
Let's see. No, that's high A ball.
He's in high A.
He's in high A ball. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online. southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. South Point summer sales event still going on. Interested in buying that new vehicle? Get on by and see your friends at South Point Volkswagen. And remember, the ID Buzz is coming very soon. South Point Volkswagen is going to get a grand total of 7 electric VW buses. The ID Buzz. You want to be one of those 7 driving around town? Reserve yours today at South Point Volkswagen. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, y'all. Hour 3. Ross Jackson from Saints Camp next.
AFR.
Hey, I want to remind you about Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. We have been super fortunate as of now to skate and to skirt any storms. Obviously, a big one hit Texas and parts of Houston, and we certainly keep our neighbors to the west in our thoughts. But it's inevitable. It's raining every day, and we know eventually a storm will come. And for many of us, when inclement weather comes, it knocks out power. And sometimes it's during storm season. Sometimes it's when a freak ice storm pops up like it did a few years back. The bottom line is you want to be ready. The time to start thinking about a generator is now, before the storm is in the Gulf. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. They have upfront guaranteed pricing. The price that they quote you on site is the price you pay. You're never going to see another number other than that. Got $600 for a down payment. They have financing options for any budget, and they are the best. It's Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Mosciona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Padres right-hander Dylan Cease throws a no-hitter today, beating the Nationals 3-0 in D.C. For Cease, it's only his second 9-inning complete game in 145 career starts. He walked 3, struck out 9. The Padres sweep that series. They've won 5 in a row. Also today, the Rangers win their 5th in a row, beating the White Sox 2-1. Max Scherzer goes 6 innings for the win for Texas. He's now 10th on the all-time strikeout list with 3,400, passing Justin Verlander. The White Sox have lost 11 straight. 49ers offensive lineman Trent Williams is holding out, did not report to training camp. Niners wideout Brandon Ayuk is in camp, but not practicing. He's also looking for a new deal. ESPN's Damian Woody.
You take Brandon Ayuk out of this offense is going to look different, very different. And so if Brandon Ayuk, if something happens where he's traded, listen, I can't call the 49ers the favorite in the NFC.
Damian Woody on Get Up.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Mosciona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. We will get a little glimpse behind the curtain from ACC Media Days. Our buddy Brad Senkiw will be here in about 15 minutes from right now. Day 2 out at Saints training camp. Ross Jackson there in Irvine. He's with us now. How are you, Ross?
Hey, buddy. Doing great. Glad to be here with you.
Always our pleasure, man. What was the highlight of day 2?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would probably highlight from day 2 is that the defense has started off very, very strong. Another 2 interceptions today. Some good jobs sniffing out things over in the screen game over the defensive side as well. We saw Paulson Adebo with an interception on Derek Carr, Roger Teamer with an interception on Jake Haener. It's not out of the ordinary to see defenses start faster than offenses in training camps because typically there's a lot more changing for offenses. But look, there's been limited opportunities for the defense to be out here making plays because there's so much focus on the run game, which makes sense because that's sort of what this wide zone offense is predicated on. But the defense taking advantage of those opportunities when they do present themselves to me is a pretty big takeaway because the defense is going to still be the quintessential DNA of a team that is coached by a defensive head coach So great to see all of that coming together still for New Orleans.
What do we take away from the early parts of camp, especially when they're not in full pads?
Yeah, it's tough, right? This is one of those ones where you're really looking for the additional details on, hey, were guys in the right alignments? Were they where they were supposed to be? Are they hitting their run fits and things like that? You have to kind of go through the boring conversation a little bit,
right.
The kind of in-depth inside football conversation to really know if these guys are kind of doing the things. But the biggest thing is going to be when they do walk into pads, and especially here over the course of the first week, what you're really trying to take away is, is what's the extreme, right? Who are the guys that are really, really popping off, really, really showing out versus who are the guys that maybe look completely lost out there. And there are not a lot of examples of the latter, so I think that that's a positive side. But once we get past the acclimation period and the team gets into pads, then we'll be able to see a little bit more of the nuances.
Ross, did I see that Dennis Allen after practice really compliment? You mentioned the interception that Roderick Teamer had, that Dennis Allen really highlighted him?
Yeah, absolutely. Dennis Allen has, typically any time that he has talked about Roderick Teamer, which has been kind of few and far between, but when he's gotten the opportunity to talk about him, he's somebody that obviously stands out. And I think there's a couple of different reasons for that. I think Dennis Allen loves his defensive backs, right? There's absolutely no doubt about that. But you're also talking about a guy that has a ton of experience in the NFL, that also has been a guy that has grinded it out through the special teams pathway and all these other things. He's a gamer, and that's the type of guy that Dennis Allen has always kind of gravitated towards. And so I think Roderick Teamer is just one of those guys that maybe kind of strikes what it is that Dennis Allen really loves in a player. And it's great to have that type of veteran presence in what is otherwise a pretty young room outside of a couple of players when it comes to defensive backs. A lot of undrafted free agents, a lot of, sub-fifth year guys and all that. So it's great to have that type of example for this team as well.
He's on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Saints. Ross is out there in Irvine for as long as the Saints are, all the way up until August 16th. He'll be with us here every day giving us Saints camp reports. I did see also, for the first time, conversation about the backup quarterbacks. And Ross, that's one of the things that we've kind of focused on here a little bit as one of the real camp storylines is the Saints, for the first time in a long time, don't have a stated number 2 going into camp. So anything early on observations, Haener and Rattler?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is that you're just waiting for these guys to continue to make their rotations. You're going to see, one guy starting off with second team, which is what we've seen so far with Jake Haener, and Spencer Rattler with the third team, and then eventually you'll see Spencer Rattler move up to the second team with Jake Haener taking some third team reps and things like that. So once they kind of get into a little bit more of that rotation and the back and forth, I think that that's going to be the part where we're really going to see a lot more of the kind of fireworks between these two. I will say that, look, Jake Haener continues to look comfortable. He threw an interception today to Roderick Teamer, but he just continues to look comfortable in this offense and in this scheme. And Spencer Rattler's in a situation where he's still kind of navigating and getting settled and all these other things. So I think we're a few practices away from these two really sort of coming to blows. But when we got to see them kind of really get after it during OTAs and things like that and mandatory minicamps, it was particularly entertaining. So really looking forward to seeing both these guys. I think both of them are unique fits in different ways for this offense. Spencer Rattler has the athleticism that you like for a guy that might be able to improv and create some additional plays outside of structure, while Jake Haener has that operation, quick processing, get the ball out quickly type of mentality that you like to see in terms of being able to cleanly execute the offense. So both of them are going to stand out in their own respective ways. It's going to be about who makes the bigger plays. But I do think both of these guys, Matt, make the roster. It's just going to be in what order.
Maybe it's a commentary on the Saints as a whole whenever I ask you about the backup instead of the starter. But I think
right.
there are probably questions about the starter. Any observations through 2 days about Derek Carr after he said, it's just he feels more comfortable, he knows his play, just everything's more comfortable. Any observations there?
Yeah, it's easy to jump at the 2 interceptions that he's thrown already so far. He had an interception during day 1 to Demario Davis, an interception here during day 2 to Paulson Adebo. But look, at the same time, he also had a big strike down the field to Taysom Hill that would have been a touchdown. And so I think the biggest thing is going to be kind of cataloging this over the course of more than a couple of days. I do think that there is a sense of comfort with him in this offense and kind of understanding things. I've asked a few players about, how they feel that he's been sort of acquiescing to this offense, and they believe that this is a very comfortable situation for him, and the way that Clint Kubiak is kind of preparing this offense and kind of serving it on a platter for the offensive weapons, including Derek Carr over on that side. They feel that this is really going to accentuate what it is that this team has the ability to do well. So I think the biggest thing right now is just waiting for these guys to maybe find their rhythm in this offense. As we mentioned earlier, defenses typically start out faster than the offenses that they're going up against in training camps. And so the faster that we get past that benchmark, the faster we'll be able to have a better sort of understanding just holistically about how comfortable Derek Carr is or isn't, right, proves to not be potentially in this new offense.
So I got two more things for you. One, are you of the belief that the specialists, the punter, place kicker job are actually up for grabs in camp?
I am of the belief that both can be jostled free. I think the way that I look at it is that I think that Blake Grupe and Lou Hedley are still firmly in their positions. But I don't believe, based upon what we saw last year, where the Saints moved off and did something that they typically don't do, which is move off of incumbents to go to new faces in both of those positions. I don't believe that the Saints won't believe what they're seeing if Grupe struggles and his competition, Charlie Smith, starts to stand out. And then similarly, if Lou Hedley struggles and his competition, Matthew Hayball, starts to stand out. So Grupe was 8 of 8 yesterday in some very short distance kicks, while Lou Hedley had a few shanks on his punts. But is still working on that sort of more traditional NFL punt style. So I think if things continue to go one way and continue to dip for one of these guys that's the incumbent, I don't think that they're comfortably set enough that they can get by with bad performances and keep their jobs. I think that that's where guys like Matthew Hayball and Charlie Smith could see the door open and make things interesting.
What are we looking for on day 3?
Day 3, the big thing I want to see is more passing from this offense. I get it. This is an offense predicated on the run game. But goodness, we want to see what the quarterbacks can do in this system. So I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more action when it comes to the offense. We've seen 2 strong days from the defense. You'd like to see the offense start to bounce back and start to show that they got their sea legs a bit and that they're ready to go and drive some more of this competition here in training camp.
On Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Y'all give him a follow. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Saints every day. Saints podcast. Make sure you're subscribed there if you want all the deets from Saints camp. Ross will have it for you there. We appreciate it, Ross. Thanks. Talk to you tomorrow, man.
Always a pleasure, dude. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right. Be well. 2 interceptions for Carr. Defense thriving. I might be a little more concerned if the offense was ahead of the defense. I think we do expect the defense should be ahead. So I don't want to overreact to that, especially until they get in pads. But good stuff from Ross. We appreciate it. Ross does awesome work. We're glad to have him aboard with us here. Hey, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration. You want to kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. Parish Restoration, that patented non-toxic dry fog. Had a buddy who I've known for years, like literally since elementary school, send me a message on a Facebook Messenger. Said, hey, man, what's that dry fog company that you talk about, the mold company? Well, it's Parish Restoration. It's gone through a lot of different iterations, but Richard and Ryan Terrio, my partners with Parish, went to Jim Woodworth, who owned Mold Zero Pure Restoration, and they merged all under the Parish umbrella. So, you know, the great thing about Parish is whatever you got going on under the roof, we can help. So Parish Restoration, go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, hit the restoration tab, and you can learn about the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. I mean, if you've got a lingering odor you can't knock out, maybe it's from a rental house, maybe it's pet odor, smoke odor, either from cigarettes or from a fire, any type of odor, if it's sweat in like a workout facility, you want to knock out that odor, come have it dry fogged by Parish, and in one day, it's gone. Actually, a matter of hours. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, parishbuilt.com. All right, we appreciate Ross Jackson. Again, if you haven't heard, we've mentioned it several times, Ross has agreed to join us every day for a Saints training camp report while he's out in Irvine. So we're pumped about that. We appreciate his time so very much. We'll do that right here at the top of hour 3 all throughout Saints training camp. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, our buddy Brad Senkiw is going to join us. Brad, we became acquainted with Brad when LSU played Clemson for the national title 5 years ago, and he's been a really good friend of the show over the years whenever we've had topical things. And so he was out at ACC Media Days. Of course, Clemson is very relevant there. Clemson and Florida State trying to get out of the ACC, while Stanford, Cal, SMU all come into the ACC. How did it go? I want to talk about that with Brad Senkiw when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. I tell you every day, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Hey, remember, this week is Restaurant Week. So Tallulah over at the Renaissance Hotel is participating. If you haven't tried Tallulah yet, what a great opportunity to do it here at Restaurant Week. Through Saturday, $45 a person if you want to eat as part of Restaurant Week over at Tallulah. So get on by right there, Bluebonnet, right across from Perkins Road in the Mall of Louisiana. You know where the Renaissance Hotel is. Don't think of this as, oh, it's just a hotel restaurant. It's not that. This is a casual dining, an upscale casual dining experience. Chef-curated menu. Chef Jason Aber has done an awesome job, y'all. Try the pork chop. You won't be disappointed. Had a listener say she and her husband went, had the pork chop, the swordfish, tried it out. It was impeccable. Trust me, y'all try Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar, con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Brack teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
Rolling along here, hour 3. Big Ten and ACC media days this week. Let's go check in on the All-Coast Conference. Brad Senkiw, our buddy from 105.5 The Roar, covers Clemson. That's a Clemson flagship. We kind of became acquainted 5 years ago when LSU and Clemson played for the national championship, and Brad's been a good friend of the show, good enough to join us here. Hey, man, how are you?
Matt, it is so good to hear from you. Long time, but yeah, I'm glad to be with you, man. It's football season.
Yeah, you and me talking. That means it's football season, which is a great thing.
Yep.
Hey, last week we were in Dallas, and Texas and OU just stole so much of the spotlight because of the intrigue, right? I'm curious at ACC Media Days with Stanford and Cal and SMU, how big of a deal was it with the newcomers?
Not that big, definitely not to that level
Sure.
for a lot of obvious reasons. SMU did come in with some buzz, and I think Rhett Lashley and his crew really did sort of, if you want to say steal the show from that standpoint of the three new teams in there. But, Cal and Stanford, they feel so far away, not just in distance, Matt, but in just football terms. We don't think about those two schools. I know Stanford had some great years. Jim Harbaugh was there, David Shaw, but it's been a long time since they were nationally relevant. And ACC people just can't really relate to Stanford and can't really relate to Cal. Now, I actually think Cal got a lot more buzz. Stanford's still working through some things there, but Cal at least had some people talking about their running back. He's a phenomenal rusher. So there was at least some of that, but yeah, I don't. It probably paled very much in comparison to what you experienced last week.
No doubt. Honestly, Brad, it feels like, and again, outside looking in is why I appreciate your perspective. It feels like the bigger conversation that I heard from the AC Media Days wasn't the teams coming in. It's Clemson and Florida State trying to get out. And obviously Jim Phillips' comments. What is the temperature there actually being there at ground zero?
It's odd because I've been to that event many, many times. And it feels like the last 2 or 3 years, there's always some black cloud hanging over it that has nothing to do with actual football. Whether it's, the need for revenue or teams suing the league, or are we even going to be here next year? Is there going to be a league? I mean, I felt that at times over the last few years. And so it's really hard when you're in that environment and everybody's just kind of having, kind of quiet little whispers of, so what are you hearing about this? What are you hearing about that? But at least with the lawsuit thing, no one really understands it, and no one is a lawyer, and no one's really involved in any of the proceedings. So it had like its moment as like a crescendo, if you will, of conversations about the lawsuit. And then once you heard from enough players and coaches, that kind of went away a little bit, and the focus started to turn more back to football. But it's an odd vibe. I mean, it really is. It's this way every year at this league's event, and I just don't think it's going to end anytime soon.
What do you think is and Brad Senkiw is our guest, 105.5 The Roar there in Clemson. What do you think on the field now, Brad, like is the biggest consequence, pro or con, right, of a 17-team ACC this year?
I think it's really the disparity in schedules, because like there's some teams. I see like a Georgia Tech, who I think is taking the right steps. Brent Key he's a good guy. Alabama fans know him. He's a hard-nosed, old-school, physical kind of coach, and I like some things he's doing. But their schedule, because of the disparities that everybody's going through, like they're not going to win a ton of games. They got to play, Notre Dame and Georgia, and it's just I don't know. I don't like how it's sort of forcing teams that are trying to get better into some weird situations. And I think also the cross country, having to go to Cal and Stanford. Clemson doesn't face that this year, but a lot of other teams do. It's just it feels hard. I mean, I know that sounds weird in 2024. We got these great airplanes, take anywhere you want to go, but it just sounds more difficult. Logistics and all. You hear the word logistics a lot, and travel. And just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that aspect of it from a football standpoint. How much it affects the products on the field, remains to be seen.
Let's talk about Clemson. Half decade ago, Brad, Clemson was the team challenging Alabama for supremacy in the sport. NIL portal, that seems to be all the convo about how maybe Clemson isn't adapting. Does the narrative match reality? I know with the portal, obviously, that's black and white, but does the narrative match reality with Clemson?
There's two parts to that. There's a little bit of yes and a little bit of no. And I think that could Clemson have helped itself in the transfer portal at times over the last couple of years? Absolutely. I was clamoring last year that Dabo Swinney had to go get some receivers. He needed to beef up his offensive line. They did go after some linemen they could not get. The receivers were too pricey. Clemson wasn't going to pay what it took to get a Keon Coleman at Florida State. Whatever, that's fine now. This year's a little different, though, Matt. This roster is stacked. I mean, they have recruited well. They've got guys like Peter Woods, T.J. Parker up front on the defensive line. The receiver room is 10 deep this year. This might be the year if they're healthy. They maybe not look like they did with guys like T. Higgins and Mike Williams and Nuke Hopkins, but they're at least going to, I think, be competitive at the receiver position more than we've seen over the last few years. So I just don't know if there was a lot of room to do a lot of adding. But at the same time, if you don't perform well and you have another season like Clemson did last year and you're staring at 4 losses, by the time you get in November, the people are going to point out the fact you should have upgraded your team. Like there's a position or two here or there. And now that's the reality of it, and that's hindsight in the moment. But Dabo Swinney is very clear about it. NIL is for retention, and he still values recruiting, but he also recognizes we go to the 105 scholarship limit coming up next year. That changes the game, and you're not going to have a choice but to go to the portal.
Brad Senkiw here for a couple more minutes. 105.5 The Roar there in Clemson. Kind of put a little button here on, or I guess they're not done with ACC Media Days, but talk a little bit about and through ACC Media Days. What about after Clemson, Florida State at the top? Is there somebody else I'm missing, Brad? Like what? As you're there, the media order finish hasn't come out. We've seen some ballots, but who are the teams that are expected to be there, standing at the end atop the ACC?
I think there's 5 teams, Matt. Now, I talked to some people in Charlotte. They went to 6 or 7. I'm not ready to go that far, but I have 5 teams that I think can make the ACC championship game. Win it, I don't know, but get there, and in no particular order, Clemson, Florida State, and I think Miami with that talent that they're bringing in, it's just can Cristobal put it together and not mess it up, like we've seen him do in past seasons and with past teams.
Oh wait, Brad, hang on. Your phone broke up. You still got me? Did we lose him? All right, he got through 3 of them. Clemson, Florida State, Miami. I think he might have said NC State, but I don't want to pick up there. Muse is picking up. See if we still got him there. Okay, we still got him. Good. Okay, great. All right, so we're good? Okay, so Brad, we heard Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and then cell phones did what cell phones do sometimes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Miami, and then after that, NC State with what Dave Doran, the stability I think he's built in that program. This might be the most hype I've ever seen NC State get going into a season.
Wow.
And then I think Virginia Tech at least needs to be mentioned in the 5 that can get to Charlotte for the ACC title game. I don't know that they're good enough to win it. They didn't beat anybody with a pulse last year, but they bring everybody back, an exciting young quarterback. I don't know, Matt, that I've been able to pick out 5 teams that I thought could get to Charlotte. It's been some years since I've been able to do that.
When we were in Dallas last week, Brad, I asked everybody, like, how many SEC teams do you think make the playoff? My feeling is every year they're going to get 3. The SEC is going to get 3 every year. And in a stretch year could get 4. What was interesting is so many people there, Brad, assume the SEC is going to get 4 and maybe 5. I don't know how I even see that mathing, especially with what the committee is going to try to do with parity. And then you hear Matt Rule say at Big Ten Media Days they're going to get 4 or 5 every year. And I'm like, man, the math don't work for all these teams to get in. What's the conversation there in a 17-team ACC? How many ACC teams are you all assuming get in every year?
Well, obviously 1. After that, I think it's pretty iffy on 2, and I think it might depend on the 2. Now, Matt, some of that is what happened last year, right? Florida State goes undefeated. I know it was only 4, but still, Florida State goes undefeated, 13-0 in the regular season, wins the ACC, and doesn't get in. The people around Charlotte feel like this league is going to get the short end of the stick. Whether or not they do, we'll see what the committee does. But they, obviously they feel they're going to get the 1. I don't think anybody is. It's like the ACC is guaranteed 2 spots.
Man, it's just a fascinating time as all this continues to unfold. Brad Senkiw, again, 105.5 The Roar, flagship for Clemson. He's on Twitter at Brad Senkiw, Senkiw, if you want to give him a follow there. Those non-phonetic last names, Brad, it makes it really hard on the Twitter machine, man, or the X machine, I guess I'm allowed to say, right?
I know.
Anyway.
We just go. Look, it's hard enough to spell it myself. I feel for everybody else.
Brad, we appreciate it, man. We'll visit soon.
Thank you, Matt. Good to hear from you. Take care, my friend.
Always, man. Be well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. If you want to see 2020, call the best. Call 924-2020 over at the Williamson Eye Center. Again, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Tell you all the time. You want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever. You want to stop shoving contact lens in your eye. You want to stop traveling with the extra pair of contact lens, the contact solution, the glasses that the prescription's 5 years old because you don't update it. You want to stop that life. You want to be able to wake up in the morning and just see, not get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, have to squint and feel your way through your dark bedroom. There's a way. Refractive procedure from the Williamson Eye Center. Maybe it's LASIK, maybe it's EVO ICL, the implantable contact lens, which is a reversible procedure. Maybe it's PRK, maybe it's the custom lens replacement. No matter your age or refractive issue, there's a way that you can see 20/20 without contacts or glasses, and Dr. Blake Williamson makes that happen every single day. So call 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. All right, appreciate Brad Senkiw for being there with us. If you missed it earlier in the show, Bryan Fenley, who covers UCLA, was here as well. So kind of got some perspective on how the Bruins did at Big Ten Media Day. Appreciate Brad for giving us a thumbnail there on the ACC. I think it's interesting to hear the perspective that the ACC is assuming they're only going to get one every year, and it's their ACC champion. And I guess it makes sense given what happened a year ago with Florida State. But on the flip side, you could say the same thing with the SEC because of Georgia. Now, in a 12-team playoff, of course, Georgia would have been in. And in a 12-team playoff, Florida State, of course, would have been in. But I think it really speaks to the depth of the league. And you have to wonder, why go to 17 if you don't feel like you made your league better? There's no sense in adding teams just for numbers. You don't add just to add. We say it all the time, right? You have to grow the pie significantly enough by adding a team. It has to grow the pie significantly enough that everybody gets a bigger piece. Otherwise, you're just diluting everybody's piece. Everyone gets you're just the same size pie and just dividing it more ways, and everybody's piece is smaller. So you got to grow the pie significantly enough. Did Stanford, Cal, and SMU do that in the ACC financially or competitively? I don't know, but it is the world we're moving in college football, which I find it fascinating. And I know everybody looks and we long for tradition and the rivalries and the things that are familiar. People want familiarity in college football and college athletics. It really just in life. We don't like change. But what I want more than any of that, what I want more than seeing Stanford play Oregon, what I want more than that is great football games every weekend. What I want to get rid of forever is LSU against Nichols. No disrespect to Nichols. What I want to get rid of forever is Auburn against Jacksonville State. What I want to get rid of forever is Clemson against the Citadel, because there's not a soul walking the face of planet Earth that yearns for that. Those are garbage games that nobody wants to see, that are on the schedule as nothing more than a gate receipt. That is what college football has built itself around for the last quarter century, is nothing but a freaking paycheck. And everything else is ancillary to that. It's not to say nothing else matters. It's just to say the leaders in college football have led with the bottom line. That has been the number one priority no matter what they say. You could tell me you want to preserve tradition. You can tell me you want to get student athletes and graduate and all. You can say all that stuff. But all of that has been secondary to money. Every decision has led with money. That's not even debatable. You can say whatever you want, but actions speak louder than words. So I get it. 17-team ACC, 18-team Big Ten, 16-team SEC. It's weird. It's different. I mean, my goodness, UCLA flying to play games at Rutgers. Yeah, that's weird. It's different. But that's better than watching UCLA play Cal Poly, which nobody wants to see. You know what I will be interested in? UCLA at Penn State. I'm going to be interested in how that goes. All right. It's After Further Review. Let me knock out a quick break. Lincoln Riley spoke with reporters at Big Ten Media Day. A little what the Trojans head coach had to say, of course. So we covered the Bruins. Let's cover the Trojans as well. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need the best. You need Darren James. And look, we all have that little computer in our pocket. So why not take Darren James with you with the new Darren James mobile app? Go to your app store, Google Play, search Darren James in the App Store and download the Darren James app. It's on my home screen, and I would recommend it for you as well. If you're into real estate, if you're buying, selling, or just love real estate, you need the Darren James app. Right there, you can search homes. He's got a list of preferred vendors if you need vendors for your home. You want to leave a review for Darren, you can. If you want info about the real estate market in the greater Baton Rouge area, the Lafayette market as well, it's all there for you. Download the Darren James app. You can also chat with Darren right there on the app as well. So, download the Darren James app. Remember, buying or selling, you need a realtor. You need the best. You need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
Value Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Value Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Value Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Mosciona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Value Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Value Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Value Ford is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. I remember no otter locks. Otter still gallivanting out in Del Mar, betting on the ponies and all that stuff. So no otter locks here today. We'll get to what we learned to wrap up the show and ask us. So you want to get questions from me, Paulie Muse, you could do it. Fire away, email us, tweet us at Matt Mosciona at 1045ESPN. Or text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Hey, earlier in the show, really at the start of the show, we talked about Trajan Jeffcoat, who left Saints practice today on a cart, apparently with an elbow injury. Just saw this on Twitter. Hat tip John Hendricks. He's the first I saw with it. John Hendricks notes, some initial good news to pass along for Saints Trajan Jeffcoat. I'm told he has no ligament damage and his injury will not require surgery. He suffered a dislocated elbow today. So rarely, if ever, would you say a dislocated elbow is good news. But apparently, given what the alternative could have been, a dislocated elbow seems like good news for Trajan Jeffcoat. Again, Jeffcoat's a guy we talked about in hour number one. You might remember started his college career at Missouri, transferred to Arkansas, actually sat out a year of football. Said he just had a lot going on in his personal life. It allowed him to reflect on how much he missed the game as well, took care of some family stuff, got back in, had a really good season last year at Arkansas, went into the draft, went unselected, signed with the Saints as an undrafted free agent, trying to earn a roster spot. This is a setback, no doubt, a dislocated elbow, so we'll see when he's able to get back on the field. But he's joining a position group that's very deep for the Saints, at least with a lot of bodies and expectations, where you have Cam Jordan, where you have Carl Granderson, who you invested in last year. You bring in Chase Young. You've got Foskey and Peyton Turner, guys you've invested some high draft capital. Remember, you've got Tano Passanio, who's going to come back off the injury as well. As a matter of fact, Dennis Allen today was asked after practice about that position battle at defensive end. Here's what he said.
I think there's a good competition there, and I think we got to let them go out there and play and compete and see who wins the job. I mean, I think all those things are to be determined. I do think we got some talent at that position, and a couple young guys that I think need to come on and step up and prove themselves, and Foskey and Peyton Turner. Veteran guy like Cam that's got to prove that he can still do it. A guy like Chase Young, who we don't have any experience with, he's got to earn his keep here. I mean, I just think that's the way it's going to be.
Well, he is really out there naming names, isn't he? I mean, yesterday it was Kendre Miller. You can't make this team from the training room. Today, calling out young guys like Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, who they need to expect more from. Cam, can you still do it? He's naming names. And for a guy that throughout his time has been pretty passive, and maybe the most animated we saw Dennis Allen was when he was pissed at his own team for scoring against the Falcons at the end last year. I mean, that's probably the most animated we've seen Dennis Allen, the most outspoken. You're actually seeing him, I don't know, man. I don't know how this resonates in the locker room, but for the first time, you're seeing him out there naming names. Maybe that gets some people's attention there for the New Orleans Saints. All right. Lincoln Riley at Big Ten Media Days gave a little thumbnail of his team. Of course, that LSU will play week 1 out in Vegas. Let's hear some of what Lincoln had to say. Remember, Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. If you're hitting the road for one last jaunt this summer, make sure you bring your vehicle to Shawbills. You need tires. You need your tires rotated. You need your oil changed. Anything done to your vehicle, our friends over at Shawbills can help. Visit ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Go to the website, hit the promotions tab at the top. You'll see all the specials that they have to offer. Manufacturer offer, the dealer offer, great things like the Shawbills credit card I tell you about all the time. Use the Shawbills credit card, you get $50 off your first purchase. So effectively, you get the Shawbills credit card, you use it for an oil change, you get a free oil change effectively. They charge you $1 because they got to run the card, but free oil change effectively. Check it out. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. So Lincoln Riley, for the first time, was at Big Ten Media Days. And there's two really big things around this team. Of course, it's replacing Caleb Williams, and it's trying to fix your defense. Kind of like LSU, replacing Jaden Daniels and trying to fix your defense. Riley was asked if he can feel this defense, the momentum behind this defense starting to get better.
Yeah, and I think in terms of our defense, listen, we know that's an area that we have to take jumps, and that's why we made the changes that we made. I think our team and the people within the walls and that actually know what's going on feel that momentum. You could feel it in spring ball, and I think all of our players, offense, defense, special teams, are all equally excited about the changes that were made and the way that our defense performed this spring and the momentum that's coming.
The problem for SC is that Lincoln Riley's never had good defenses. 7 years as a head coach, doesn't matter if it's at Oklahoma or his 2 seasons at USC, he's never had a good defense. So if they turn this defense around under DeAnt Lynn, it will be an outlier for what they've done. And maybe the coaching change, the personnel will be what they need. He was also asked, by the way, about that LSU game where the report came about a month or so ago that Lincoln Riley was actively trying to move off of that season opening date against LSU. Here's what he said.
No, we never looked at shifting it. It was far enough down the line that I don't think that was ever realistic from either side. I think both sides took a look at it because obviously they had changes in their conference, just like we did, that weren't the same when we scheduled the game. And obviously the playoff system was different. I mean, everything was different. So, we've tried to look at every game that we can in the future. LSU, certain LSU, the referenced Ole Miss, every non-conference game that we've played, we've looked at it and said, all right, do these make sense given what else we know that we're playing, and just trying to set the best schedule for it that we can.
Did he say we didn't take a look at it, but then we took a look at it? Is that effectively what he said?
Pretty much, yeah.
We didn't look at moving it, but we looked at everything about moving it. I'll say it again. Like, I know that's an easy target for fans and Twitter and message boards and all. I just don't blame him at all. Like, of course you want to lighten up your schedule as much as you can, especially in a year where you're losing Caleb Williams and your defense stunk. I mean, I don't blame him at all. Didn't we all last year talk about moving Grambling before Florida State to give yourself the tune-up before you played Florida State? And Verge said they looked at it. They explored the possibility of doing it. Why not? Yes, set up your schedule that's going to be most beneficial for you. Why wouldn't you do that? So I get why it's good fodder, but I don't blame him for doing it. But he did kind of just say, no, we didn't do it, but we did it. I mean, whatever. All right, it's after further review. Let's knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. We'll do Ask Us. Got anything for me, for Paulie, from Muse? Fire away. Email us, tweet us, text us. Lots of ways you can get your questions in. And we'll do a little what we learned as well on the show today. So we'll look forward to it. Get your questions in for Ask Us. We'll wrap up the show next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hey, go to the website or download the Rouse's app, which I tell you about all the time. They always have great specials. You can hit the weekly ad at the top of the page, and it'll tell you all the different specials that they have and all the different sale items that they have going on right now at all the Rouse's locations. So you can do that, like Rouse's branded peanut butter at $1.99 for a jar. How about that, man? Get on by. The weekly ad's right there, so if you want to save money, you can find out what deals they have going on right now over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Y'all, summer is here, and summer's going to last for a few more weeks before the kiddos are back in school. You want those last few days out by the pool before school starts, out in the backyard, throwing something on the grill. Rouse's has everything you need. Meat for the grill, fish on the half shell, if that's what you're looking for. The beverages, both for the kiddos and the adults. Remember, you're looking for wine, buy 4, save more. Tons for everybody at Rouse's.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
After further review with Matt Mosciona.
R.I.P. to my mentions.
Already?
Oh, no, it's not all right. It's going to happen, though. Paul posted Bama is burning from around the SEC, where Bama lost some recruiting guy from their staff. And so we did an impromptu Bama is burning. My mentions are just going to be atrocious tonight.
This might be one of our best ones yet, actually, just given the the actual subject matter of this one.
What was the guy's name? Something Rose.
Something Rose.
Some recruiting guy left for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's a bad look, though.
That's tough.
You're losing recruiting guys to Wisconsin?
You have to play them.
And you got to play them week 2? Smart guy.
Yeah.
Leaving the sinking ship for the soaring eagle in Madtown. That's what's happening. I don't blame you. Just leaving the sinking ship.
The soaring eagle. Stop it. Stop it.
And the Big 18.
The Big 18.
It's the best conference in football.
They're going to get 8
Matt Rule said it.
They're going to get 8 teams in the playoff every year.
The soaring eagle. Oh, that's so good. All right. Let's do Ask Us. Get your questions in for me, for Paulie, for Muse. You can ask us anything about anything. Email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can text in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. So I went and found the video Paul posted, and I quote tweeted it. There's no overcoming this one. I cannot wait to read the reply.
Death nail right there, man. Death nail. Just done.
Okay.
I tripped over it. Yeah, I tripped over it. Nah, I tripped over it and fixed it. Nah, come on now. We're on it a little bit more today.
I can't help myself. Devin said, ask us, are you actually going to buy E-Rock Tay-Tay tickets, or are you just stunting? E-Rock is my wife, Erica. Jordy, way back in the day, gave Erica that nickname, E-Rock, and it's stuck. What does stunting mean?
I think he used that wrong. I'm looking that up actually right now. I think he meant frontin'. That's kind of what I think he went.
He said stunting.
Yeah, I don't.
I know the song "Stuntin' Like My Daddy."
Great song, really good album, like Father Like Son.
I don't think the way he said it actually works. I don't think that makes sense. I think it means front. What if I told you that I have secured tickets for my wife to go to see Taylor Swift?
Hey, there we go. Yeah, he totally misused that. Stunting means to floss or show off.
Yes.
He meant front.
Yeah.
Happens. So you're going to see Tay-Tay?
No.
Okay.
I said I got Erica tickets.
You're not going there.
Apparently, I don't get to go.
Okay. I'm sure you're heartbroken.
I would love to go.
Apparently, she puts on a great show.
Yes. I mean, I love live music. I love shows. I love to go to big events and things. So, but
you didn't get invited. Look, it happens.
Yeah. I was basically told,
just get me the tickets.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, the the response was, well, can you get 3? I was like, no, I cannot, actually. That's not happening in this world in which we live. No. So anyway. Steven Jackson.
The running back?
I was going to go for the basketball player. There's a lot of Steven Jacksons out there. Apparently
Popular name.
Pretty common name. Ask us if LSU doesn't get in the playoff this season, or is this season a failure? Muse?
I'll say no, not a failure. I think failure would be them going like 7-5 or 8-4. But I mean, if they're
8-4. Listen, man, they go 9-3 again this year. You're going to get the questions. Can Brian Kelly break through the glass ceiling? You go 8-4, nobody here will ever be content with a 4-loss season, because now you're talking Texas Bowl and just it's nobody ever wants to look at that.
I think that's failure.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Right.
The schedule's tough. You're replacing a lot. I always tell you, man, I haven't given you a pick on this season yet, but my gauge always with the team is who has the fewest questions against the most manageable schedule. LSU's got a lot of questions against a tough schedule, which makes it tough to pick them, man. Clayton Knight, ask us, y'all got any of that BlackBerry Crown?
Oh, my God. Bourbon Dictionary was yesterday, Clayton.
I know. Appreciate it. Paulie, what do you think about LSU? Is it a failure if they don't make the playoff? Oh, he's not on.
My bad.
I don't think it's a failure. I'm with you. I think the win-loss record would determine it more than making the playoff.
Okay. Well, I think they kind of coincide. If you're 10-2, you're going to be in the playoff, I think. Tybers Hurt said, I feel bad for you, Matt. You have a member of your household that says almonds. Erica says almonds. Actually, she says almonds. Not even almonds. She says almonds. Almonds.
Almonds. I say almond.
The L is silent. Almonds.
It's almonds?
Almonds.
Oh, no. I don't like that.
Caleb Williams.
The quarterback?
Different Caleb Williams. Ask us, worst Tiger mascot, Clemson or Auburn? Clemson, the eyes are weird.
It's bad.
The eyes on the Clemson Tigers.
Auburn's the War Eagles.
That'll do it for us here. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow, 3.
AFR.
Brought to you by Supper Club. Hey, if you want dinner plans tonight, if you don't have dinner plans tonight, get by Supper Club. Yesterday, they got the new cow in from Sagrera Farms up in Ethel. Literally, as I was texting Chef Layton yesterday, he was butchering the cow in-house as I was texting him. I'm sure he took time, though, to wash his hands before he picked up his phone and text me. But anyway, point being, y'all got to get by Supper Club. You have to experience Supper Club. Yo, right now, they're open right now. Why not, if you're knocking off of work, driving home, just take a detour. Right there on Perkins Road near Bluebonnet. Go experience Supper Club. As long as you have on a collared shirt, you're good. Collared shirt, jeans, slacks, you're good. Get on over to Supper Club. Have a cocktail at the bar, craft cocktail, a glass of wine. Experience Supper Club. See if they can get you a glass of that Weller Antique, the old Weller Antique, the 107 barrel pick for Supper Club. It's amazing. What an experience. Get your reservation today. SupperClubBTR.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC.